Content warning before the video even begins. Topics such as grooming, CP, and sexual combos, including and involving minors. Everything basically from the last video. Let's see, manipulation, like all that stuff are going to be topics of today's video. If you are not old enough to talk about these things, this video is not for you. This is for informational purposes, and this video will be a document reading of Joji's document. Somebody gave me kind of a timeline list of things to kind of go down after my last video. Turns out I covered an old document, but that's kind of a big, like, preface, a bunch of exposition to kind of put it in simple terms that gives more, I guess, background onto what has been happening since then. So I'm glad I read that document, because this is a direct, that document directly plugs into what this document is mainly about. This is a long one. I'm not even gonna lie. It is pretty long. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. As always, just put this on in the background. If you don't want to see me do this, you don't have to watch this video. I do plan on summarizing all this up, but to show you that I am reading this along, and if you want to read along too, this is the best way to get immersed and actually consume the information, is the Google Documents. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Joji's document. It starts off with a disclaimer, a trigger warning, and it starts off with the following. I would like to emphasize that everyone who is writing their accounts of what they've gone through have a variety of experiences across the past few years in relation to BlushCrunch Studios. This involves relations to BlushCrunch Studios, Quelver, and to Rock Serpent. They are all being given their own sections in which they can discuss what they are comfortable with. Any trigger warnings or content warnings that they'd like to tag in their section, alongside providing their own proof or testimonies. This document aims to do the following: move any threads on X/Twitter into a Google Doc so that it can get more outreach, as per request of the victims and many people who wish to learn of the situation. The next bullet point reads, give personal accounts and experiences to those affected by BlushCrunch Studios to allow them to have a voice. Allow for further closure and comfort for those affected. Give the public a fuller picture so that they may form their own opinions. We all strongly suggest everyone does their own research before coming to any conclusion. Hopefully make Quelver finally take accountability. It then reads, the people of this document condemn the following: harassment of any form to anyone, doxing, bullying, botting people, and the like, misinformation, fake quote-unquote leaks, blatant disinformation, and misinformation. Many people here at one point were friends or close with Quelver or Rock Serpent. I'm going to just say Rocks. I don't want to say Rock Serpent the entire time. Others in BlushCrunch Studios Discord server and wish to speak up about their experiences there, and some have requested to stay anonymous. I can verify that everyone here is no longer associated with them and does not support them. Screenshots or recounts of what happened may refer to Quelver or Rocks. Due to how they both operated, most conversations were done via voice calls by both of them. We believe this to be so that they lack a paper trail to make situations like this more difficult to prove. Okay, some evidence here will be with as much readily available information that the people can give in relation to testimonies to fill in much context as possible. Some people in this document are under non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, and will tread carefully with what they can or cannot share after reading over their contracts. Disclaimers to such retellings will be expressed in their appropriate sections if applicable. Furthermore, as I'm gathering these people for the document, I know that we have verified their testimonies by either having been there for their experiences, witnessed it, or it is publicly noticeable to to the general audience in proximity to the server or people being spoken about in this document. I will be helping with formatting of the document alongside tabs and subtabs for every section necessary so that it is easier to read and understand alongside easy to navigate. More testimonies are being written up and will be added to this document throughout the upcoming days due to such, and again, if you have an experience that would fall under what was spoken of above, please reach out. Okay, so I'm already gonna take a quick pause. We're only 5 minutes into this, but talking about how there is supposedly, I mean, it lacks a paper trail. Okay. I really hope this is all just not baseless claims. Lacking a paper trail that's already sort of a red flag going into this document, but I will stay vigilant and I will continue onwards. A small addendum on how to navigate the document for those who are new to Google Docs. Yeah, okay, I already know how to do this. And cool. All right, next page. Gary. We remember talking about Gary. They were the person that Rocks drew suggestive artwork of when they were a minor. Recounting of events. Content and trigger warning for mentions of chasm material. Hi, I'm Gary, also known as Gek Bob. I want to give a heads up as to what this pertains to because I'm one of Rocks/Jakes' victims from 2021. Notably, the one he ended up making chasm of. Chasm? I'm gonna just say chasm. Chasm of alongside someone else from Pixelbit. Screenshots were provided in the screenshot section of the document. I met Quell in 2020, and when I saw her art and brought her along to work on my Tower Heroes map submission with some other friends, some other friends. I saw this as a collaborative exercise to get myself introduced and acquainted with the Pixelbit community/Discord. I'd share most of my progress in public voice chats. She ended up doing the enemy designs for the map when it was added and also got the most of the publicity despite her contributing nothing else to the project but those designs. I want this to serve as a preface to how I got to know her personally because after that point, it had always been a transactional sort of collaborative endeavor with anyone she was working with. She had gotten to know She had gotten to know Rocks from his Honeycomb Heist map submission, personally vouching for him to the rest of the contributor team at the time. I imagine their friendship blossomed there. Shortly after the release of their first map together, Sacred Shrine, the contributor/staff team was warned by a bunch of people who claimed to be from Data Brawl who attempted to warn us about Rocks' predatory behavior in that community the year prior. Much like everyone else at the time, we didn't acknowledge what they were trying to say because it looked like they were raiding the server, and Rocks would tell us they're bad actors trying to sabotage him since he was younger. A few months later, a few people would leak the unsavory art Rocks had made in the public media channels. This is when I, and most of the contributor team at the time, found out about what Rocks was up to behind our backs. This being that he would make chasm of people he disliked, that being me and another victim. Okay. The mod team promptly banned him. The rest of the contributor team collectively agreed on this, and we cut ties with him. Quell, however, did not. Like Joji and other staffers from BlushCrunch Studios have stated numerous times in their own testimonies, Quell is a notoriously difficult person to talk to because she avoids direct confrontation. Does most of the talking and voice calls, which have very rarely been recorded because this is a pattern. We weren't privy. Sorry, my bad. I'm picking up on until it was too late and the evidence had become impossible to trace back without someone at the time having been through enough to record every single interaction they had with her. I've personally seen a lot of people talk about how the evidence against her has been fabricated and point out a lack of evidence and witness testimonies as proof that we, collectively, are making this up to frame her out of jealousy or hate. This has never been the case. There's also the fact that most of the private conversations have been withheld for one reason or another in private contributor-only channels in the Pixelbit Discord that I personally have not been able to provide myself because I no longer have access to those channels. but also because a few were deleted due to how redundant and full of spam they were. I think well over 50K messages in a few months. Jesus. Thankfully, the Pixelbit staff team have been able to provide the logs with screenshots that were relevant to when the second incident of Rox trying to make his way back into the community happened. I do not want to highlight this more than I do want to highlight this more than anything, but there seems to be this I do want to highlight this more than anything, but there seems to be this consistent argument that's been made in an attempt to disprove or slander the value of my initial claims back in 2024, when I rightfully called Quell to take accountability for what had happened to our knowledge at the time of making the video Duck Adam posted. This comes from a misconception that both Spookinger and Quell were completely unresponsive to give support to me and the other victim when they were made aware of the content that Rox was making, which was never the case. Quell has never personally reached out to either victim, whether that be through DMs, contributor chat, or calls that we can recall about the nature of her knowing about it or even showing an ounce of remorse. Not even once. I had to go through 4 years of message history to find anything remotely similar, and the only thing that came close was something entirely unrelated. The information we did receive of her proving she knew about it, we only found out publicly in 2024 because Spookinger had been directly reaching out to me and other people about the nature of that. Take it this way. Quell has been completely unresponsive to take any accountability back then and has refused to contribute to any meaningful conversation or effort to remove Rox from her team until it was legitimately forced upon her as a threat. Regardless, I wanted to write this now because I do have textual proof and evidence of me confronting Quell about Rox in 2021 after all, and I remember how the call went. Okay. Despite her claiming it was too long ago to remember. Textual proof. Okay. Anyway. At the tail end of 2021, me and some other people were made aware of a suspicious channel uploading seemingly insignificant Tower Hero fan animations that showcase a similar art style, that being Rox's at the time. I genuinely forgot how, but we were able to confirm our doubts, and lo and behold, Rox was trying to weasel his way back into the community under a new alias. Immediately after this, I confronted Quell and someone else in the contributor chat to unfriend him, cut contacts with him for 1, he made chasm of people in the server. 2, he was no longer welcomed regardless, and we had established that from the moment we banned him. What followed was a 22-minute call with Quell. Okay, hold on. What followed was a 22-minute call with Quell where I very bluntly tell her that as a victim, I'm ashamed to have someone I consider a friend to keep this predator around, to which she said something on the lines of, okay, so I'm gonna put a massive screeching halt. Pull that fucking parking brake. You are trying to actively remember a conversation over a Discord voice call from what would now be 5 years ago. 4 years ago. 4 years ago, because it's at the tail end of 21. This is not proof. Hold on. Maybe I'll shut up. Is there evidence here? I don't like this. I don't like this at all because this is a voice chat. This is not you're trying to remember what was said in a voice chat from almost 5 years ago. If this is the evidence that's being provided, I'll read it, but I'm like, hold the fucking phone. This is straight up might be defamatory to a certain extent. Because you could just make up anything here. And that's assuming you're not making anything up. I'll read it. It reads, you, Gary, know that he made that stuff because he was hanging around those people. I'm hoping that me keeping him in a smaller contained friend group of mature people would fix him in a way, change him for the better. We mostly just play games and talk about Jurassic Park. He told me that he wanted to get back into art and since he really cared about Tower Heroes, he missed creating content for the community. I told him to keep making art, and I thought that he wouldn't go further than that. As far as I was aware, no one else but us was supposed to see them. I will have a talk with him so he stays away from Tower Heroes. I don't like that. Whatever this is, this is okay. That's as much as I can remember from the call. Oh, great. Cool. Yeah, and there's apparently nothing else. That's where you would insert evidence if you had any. Not saying that Rox didn't draw that shit of you. I'm just saying that call with Quell doesn't really seem, sorry, okay? I did the same shit with the Ren and Zeal stuff. Oh, God, okay. You can't use a remembered conversation as evidence. That's not fucking evidence. Okay. As I remembered from the call, I never found out who was in the close friend group back then. Regardless, that call was just her trying to convince me that she would fix him, but not that she would ever cut him off, despite me pleading with her to do so multiple times at that point. She ended up creating BlushCrunch Studios with him the following year because the Pixelbit team didn't want to work with her anymore due to her association with him. She claimed she was creatively stunted by the team, despite the real reason being a reasonable dislike to want to work with her since she didn't contribute anything to the game other than concept art for her character contributions. The brunt of the work was always done by someone else, whether it was Hilon or Rox. My involvement with her pretty much ceased until 2022 when I was contacted by her to make a map for Flavor Frenzy, something I never got any follow-up on, and I introduced her to a producer friend of mine for the game's soundtrack, and she lowballed him for a full soundtrack for $20. The last part is real. I swear to God, I'm not making this shit up. It was that outrageous. Okay. Why are we not providing proof? This is where you would plug in the proof. I see screenshots further down, but this is where you plug in proof. Anyway. Screenshots are provided in the screenshot section of the... Okay, never mind. It just answered my fucking question. From 2022 to 2024, there was little to no contact between me and Quell until the release of Dandy's World, where I gave her some feedback on the game, but I ultimately found out about her knowing about the chasm before anyone else and not telling me. She later claimed that this was because she was anxious about telling me due to the nature of the images, but even then, that didn't stop spooking her, the rest of the contributor team, other people who genuinely cared the slightest amount to show that they were upset with what they saw and felt sorry. Whoa. She purposefully avoided bringing up Rox for anything he made at all, but chose to keep me in the dark for years for seemingly no reason at all. She downplayed a lot of things back then, and even now, as I'm currently learning from her acquaintances, but when I finally decided to speak up about what I went through and how I experienced it, she decided to villainize and straight up target me by defamation to remove any credibility I had. Not just for speaking up about Rox, but from what I gathered primarily because I criticized her incompetence. To do so, she deliberately lied about how I interacted with the then staff of the server to find out more about what they actually knew about Rox since Xtrail's document was currently going around and I was conveniently banned and silenced out of the discussion in the server despite me having no means or intentions to be a threat to the server. They had deliberately twisted the public narrative to present me and my friend as blackmailers who have gone after one of their mods for nefarious purposes. They used this to discredit me and my involvement in the case, mostly because I was the person who made the original video that covered the information that Duck Adam posted to his channel. Slandering the messenger would make me seem less important and untrustworthy after the fact. Here she is slandering my name. Okay. Wait, here she is slandering my name, bringing up my association. Is this a Quill thing?
Tom even states that he made his Twitter thread because of Gary's post, and as we talked about, Gary has engaged in a lot of terrible behavior and lies that have hurt and affected people on our staff team and server. Overall, I am disgusted to be publicly accused of being a racist, transphobic, ableist person. These claims.
What the fuck? Sorry, random thought. What is this fucking thumbnail, yeah? Groomers World with fucking with oh my god, what's his name? I can't remember his name. It starts with, is it Neo? No, it's not Neo. The fucking this fucking guy. I can't remember his name. Sorry. Right, I just looked down. I was like, what the fuck? If you played the title of the video is if you played Dandy's World, you're a groomer. That is fucking crazy. Holy shit. Okay. Anyway, yeah, sorry, off tangent. What the fuck? Slandering my name by bringing up my association with my association with someone else's document, claiming I was encouraging people to just say anything bad about her when that was never the case, aiming to make me seem like an untrustworthy source who's a danger to her community, knowing full well we had been friends for several years up to that point, and my intentions were very clearly stated to be from a place of worry and awareness rather than whatever she claimed I was. Here she is claiming that I am a danger to the community, despite me never actually partaking in said community to the extent she claimed I was in. To the extent of what I actually did and how she portrayed me, instead of having any form of conversation with me by myself or with someone else as a matter of fact. She had preferred to assassinate my character by creating unrelated ties to spokespeople who defended an entirely different opinion and claim from me at the time. Chronologically, this is where my personal recounting of relevant events ends. At the time of me writing this in June 2026, I am showing support and collaborating the validity of a video released by Duck Adam that showcases Quell being aware of Rox's nature months before doing anything to kick him out of BlushCrunch Studios. I'm also showing my support and highlighting many other victims who I believe are truthful that are speaking out against the same behavior I warned people about in my initial video in 2024. Personal takeaway. This is the reason why I'm writing the document. In the first place, it's my takeaway from all the information you, as a reader, should have gathered by these other victims' testimonies. Quell is a generally untrustworthy person who, as of writing this, has yet to take any accountability herself that may be from actually contacting any of the victims, saying anything publicly, refusing to acknowledge any of her fans' real gripes with how she's handling the situation, all the while she's shutting down any and all discussion of the topic in all of her fan spaces, essentially pissing away both the development team of her game. Pissing away both the development team of her game and the staff for her community who has been basically unable to do meaningful work for the last week and a half. She has basically thrown away every single friendship she had trying to protect her quote-unquote image, even if those friendships were basically her only PR, dating all the way back to how she treated me, quote-unquote personally, and Pixelbit, when she found out about what Rox was capable of. This is someone who simply does not care about anyone else but herself and has been unable to prove that opposite to be true in the slightest. That's a defamation claim right there. That's defamation, by the way. But we now have multiple testimonies spanning the last 3 years, and going as late as a few months ago that just showcase how poor her character really is. Okay, hold on. So what is the purpose of this document then? This just that right there just kind of makes us to believe that this is just kind of like a slander doc. How poor her character really is. So what's the purpose? Are you trying to prove that she's still in contact with Rox, or is that Quell is just a shitty person? I mean, I don't know what she's saying or what you're claiming she's trying to do, but like, she didn't take accountability for Rox, and now, I'm sorry, but now we have 3 testimonies spanning the last 3 years showing how poor her character really is. I'm going to keep reading. This is someone who will legitimately throw anyone under the bus to make herself look better on paper, regardless if it takes falsifying statements, making up evidence, slandering other people's names for the sake of remaining in a position of power. She weaponizes misinformation to get away with acting like a carefree imbecile. What? Why are we throwing insults? A carefree imbecile, even though she's a direct enabler, manipulator, and most of all, opportunist. I cannot in good faith continue to pretend like this is an ounce of good will in her, because even if she began most of her friendships with a good nature, she naturally seeks to get the highest, most important role in all of her relationships, whether they are creative endeavors or communities. Declares herself judge, jury, and executioner, but does everything in her power to avoid any and all responsibility for what happens as a result of her incompetence. Truth be told, she had cut rocks all the way back in 2021. This document would, if she had cut rocks all the way back in 2021, this document wouldn't exist. She genuinely would not have the opportunity to enable him to become a recognizable figure again and protect his inappropriate behavior behind closed doors. I do not care in the slightest at the fate of Dandy's world if Quell was gone, because the truth is the game. Because the truth is the game. Which is not that important, would do fine, if not better, without her at this point. She is a genuine liability risk for the safety of her community members after what happened, or what ended up happening from members from her server who went to her for help, and also for the staff who have to listen from and follow what she says and orders them to do. Who are, mind you, not there to defend her and shield her from harm, but to make sure her community is safe in the first place. In my years witnessing these events unfolding and not knowing what to make of it until it was ultimately too big for me to scale alone, I have never seen someone act as selfishly and incompetently and expose as many people as she has to danger, ever. Additionally, I can't believe I have to say this, but I am in no way am I or will I or did I ever defend any of what Rox did. From the very beginning of my involvement with the matter, I have been steadfast on the fact that both Quell and Rox are to blame for everything that happened, because one person was able to prevent it from happening altogether from the very beginning, and yet she refused to take any action whatsoever out of cowardice. Not fear, not manipulation, not gaslighting or paranoia, just straight up cowardice. Cowardice so great that when she offered to reach out to apologize to me, she didn't even tell me herself. She had someone else tell me how to apologize. Tell her how to apologize. And even then, she never followed up. Not even once. Radio silence since April 2024, which was when she had blocked me initially. I genuinely despise I genuinely despise Rox, and I also straight up hate her for being... Wait, what? I genuinely despise Rox, but I also straight up hate her for being fully aware of what he was capable. Straight up hate her. So, it's not in a document that you are trying to relay information to. It's probably not a good idea to say you hate somebody that you're doing this against. Fuck, I'll even give Ren this credit. I mean, didn't she say in her, like, she didn't hate, or she didn't, did she say she didn't hate Zeal? I'm trying to remember. I don't think she did. She gave a piece saying, like, hey, I don't want dude to, like, harm himself, like, I want him to get help. The more I'm reading this, the more malicious this document is coming off. And if you want people to sympathize with you, or if you want people to... Well, okay. I get the despise towards Rox, but hating Quell and then saying it on paper is not a good look. Okay, continuing onwards. Ignoring everyone else's pleas, including mine, and going through with it, only ever actually cutting him off, and she realized he made her a little less money. Screenshots, Gary. Hey, listen, this is a normal... or okay, I don't know why you're still friends with him, or gonna do the same thing again, Quell. He doesn't belong here and he's an actual fucking creep. Please, for the love of God, just unfriend him. Can't text, can you call? And then they call. Call that happens in December. Okay, same dates. Want me to tell you what comes of the chat later? Yeah, please do. Got ya. Good news. Things will be changing. What do you mean? Unlisting videos. Won't be posting Tower Heroes ever again. Retheme channel. Make own content. He also apologizes and said there was a slight misunderstanding. He just wanted to show animations he had already made. Okay. No more Jaker near Tower Heroes. Anything else you need me to say? No. Aftermath of the call. 4 hours later. Gary, he tagged Hillon. Traveling Rock. I was right. So it is Jakers. Yeah, it is. Dang. Brett, what does that say? Breckhay made a YouTube community post about it like an hour ago, warning people not to support it. Okay. Spookener, yeah, he sent that. William Afton had asked, God, he always finds a way back. At Quell, at Chai, this is imperative. You need to unfriend this bozo ASAP. Jaker's jump scare. People know about the Jaker situation, thought it was kept shut. What the fuck? As in what he did. Me immediately trying to reach Quell. Okay. Yeah, we were right. He's gonna do it again. Okay, yeah, it is just, okay. Jaker's jump scare. Like, wait, me trying to talk to Quell about it a week prior due to my doubts. With like a package on it or something? Got it. Pipe bomb inside. Quell dismissing any of my suggestions. Okay. That's hold on. I just want to like, okay. Fix him, creatively stunted. Okay. All right. I think I need to, hold on. I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna like go over this kind of off camera because I want to like reread this, but I don't want to interrupt the recording. So hold on, just give me like 1 second. Okay, I thought I was like misreading something because I read it like 4 or 5 times and I was like, okay, wait a minute, something's not adding up. The time jump, the aftermath of the call 4 hours later, like I think it's just referring to the timestamp. I think that's where it's confusing me because I see right here the call only lasted like 22 minutes. And if we just go up, yeah, okay, yeah, I was tweaking. I was like, am I misreading something? I really wish that this evidence was plugged in and it's not at the bottom of the page because now I'm having to like fact check it. So yeah, I will say though, from like everything that I've just read, like this right here, like you don't need to put that in a document where you're trying to like this makes this feel a lot more malicious. And I know a cease and desist got sent out, and I'm going to talk about it. I can't fucking speak. I'm going to talk about it in another video. But anyway, moving on. Next segment, it's the Joji segment. All right, 30 pages, goddamn. All right. My original 15-page document with evidence is, which has most... can't speak. My original 15-page document with evidence, which has my most experience in document, here. You can find my X/Twitter account here. Quick content trigger warning for power imbalance grooming mentions of rocks. I'd also like to point out that quite a few people in regards to my previous document were saying that I cannot be groomed because I was 23 and Rox was 21 at the time. Pardon? I would like to remind everyone that grooming isn't just between a child and an adult. He was my boss. He had power over me, both socially and financially, and if he so pleased, he actively... Wait, what? Wait. Oh, rocks. Okay. He actively emotionally abused me, and he and Quell would talk often on calls that if they were successful, he would see success as well. Okay. He knew about my financial situation and would play into talking about it. He took advantage of my mental health and failing physical health as well. Never once did I claim I was sexually groomed, nor did I imply such or leave any opening for such to be implied. I explained exactly what I thought went through in my previous document and made no mention of myself being groomed sexually. I even specifically expressed how I was groomed by him and gave exact context as to why I was vulnerable during those times to be taken advantage of. I do not just say that to say that. My own therapist has told me that I was groomed by him. If you'd like to argue semantics, you're more than welcome to take to on your own time, but to throw it in my face to belittle my trauma with that person who caused me so much pain and only amplified my anguish is just deplorable. I am a victim of his. He made many of them of all ages and different circles. This is not news to anyone. There is such a thing as like grooming. Yes, grooming is not specifically an older person like creating or making behavior normal for younger people by like because they're impressionable. It can like there's like a power indifference grooming. I think I don't know if grooming's the right term. I feel like there's a more descriptive term. I just don't know what it's called. But you could I guess you could put it under the same umbrella. I just know there's like a specific term for it. Maybe it is just grooming. I don't know. On that note, there's been rumors of me somehow in cahoots with Duck Adam and Rocks, which I might remind you, he was my groomer and abuser. In regards to Duck Adam, I refuse to speak to him due to his past of mishandling situations and causing a lot of animosity during 2024 when I moderated them. I have even gone on record asking different people to tell him to leave me alone and had blocked him when he reached out to me before his video was made. I also wasn't alerted to his video. I speculate he wanted to contact me to get a first-hand account from someone who was around during that time, but that is just speculation. The only conversation I've had with him is as follows. Okay, I don't know who's who. I think Adam. Good morning. I have no interest talking to a child. Wow, hurtful. This is in regards to BlushCrunch Studios. I do not work there. Contact their staff via the tickets. Thank you. Nope. Wait, what? He later tried to contact me on Twitter/X, which I have yet to accept because, again, I do not want to contact with him. I guess that's Adam. Adam is Duck Adam. I think. I'm assuming. Yes, okay. Taking it, I'm still a child after 2 weeks. Okay, that's a joke and all, but you get it. Okay. Imager for both images. As for the theory I'm working on with Rock Serpent, here's my last DMs with him, which were, if I recall, a few hours before we found out the truth in October. This should be exactly a day before he was publicly fired. Checking in, by the way. Jake, hi, got some news that there's going to be a hurricane hitting the area halfway through the trip. Oh shit, are you going to be okay? We are just going to have to weather it out on that Wednesday, but that's the whole day of our trip wasted. Well, at least the hurricane trajectory isn't circling as in sitting in the same spot. Still, sorry. Okay. Alongside this, Void has made a Twitter/X thread debunking this since Rox has reached out to him to show the screenshots that Rox would later post onto Twitter/X. Rox's thread would be put in my section and an imager link in case anyone would like to review it themselves. The imager link has all images referred to in the thread. Okay. Void is a different person. Okay, I was like, wait, is Void Rox? No, they're not. I keep seeing this narrative that Joji or other people are teaming up with Rox or whatever to take down Quell. So this thread is explicitly made to shut this conspiracy nonsense down once and for all. Okay, Rox contacted me on a burner account called ... last month to try and have me relay the Flavor Frenzy assets to Quell as his other attempts were not successful. Our convo consisted of me just telling him that I no longer talk to Quell and she probably doesn't care about Flavor Frenzy. None of us have contact with her. Shit. She burned her bridges with us and treated us like crap. She is not the person you once knew. Really? Yeah, really. Good lord. So the things about Mike weren't just about him? Oh, that's such a I can't read that. Oh, I can't read that. I don't even want to zoom. Do I just go on the thread? Hold on. Is this the thread? It doesn't exist. Never mind. Great. All right. It says, an entire month later, Rox added me to forward the logs he had from his personal text correspondence with Quell. I want to make it incredibly clear that I hate this bastard and I want nothing but the worst for him, but it is pretty imperative the community know of this. This information was forwarded to many of the victims, and we decided that Rox himself would post this information himself. We feared that if any of us posted the info ourselves, the people would accuse us of, quote, teaming up with him or, quote, defending him. So I told Rox this explicitly, and he published the information here. Please, if you're going to try and be factual to debunk things, don't rely on slinging around baseless conspiracy theories to try and defend your favorite Roblox dev. Okay. Duck Adam did not work with Rox to release this. This wasn't pre-planned. Neither did Joji or anybody else. Rox gave me the info with how important the info in question was. I wanted him to put it out there himself, and I feel it was the right call. People often forget in situations like this, the domino effect is real. When one person speaks up, it can prompt others with similar experiences to talk. Look into the Harvey Weinstein trials if you want a court document example of this. Thanks for reading. Please spread this so that this narrative spin can get shut down once and for all. The fact that victims of Rox are being accused of teaming up with this guy is pretty shameful and disgusting. Nobody likes this dude or has forgiven him. Peace. Now that this is all out of the way, let me continue with things I've been wanting to get off my chest. Why Quell and I cut ties. Huge content, trigger warning for mentions of cancer, abandonment, emotional distress, emotional manipulation, mentions of mental crisis, mentions of suicidal ideation. I will discuss why Quelver and I are no longer friends. I referenced it in my main document here. As for Quelver, if you're reading this, which I doubt you were notoriously always avoiding of reading just about anything negative to you, or our cutoff isn't because of me speaking out about you. What you did was absolutely abhorrent, and if I ever given permission to speak about it, I will. This is not the first time nor the place. This is not the time nor the place for me to speak of what happened between us. You know what you did was wrong. That's why you blocked everyone and ran away, cutting everyone without a second notice. And since this is a recurring behavior of yours, I imagine you'll try to hide away until the drama dies down. I hope for the sake of everyone involved, including you speak up and actually take genuine and honest accountability for once in your life instead of hiding behind a persona. Even though I will never forgive you personally, the closure would allow me to finally heal from this horrible grief you and Rox have put me through. I know many other victims feel much the same, and that is why I fight so hard. It is not just me on the line. There are many voices here who need to be heard. For some context, I must also explain that Quell would begin to distance herself from our mutual friend group to the point that people grew concerned about her and would reach out to me about it. And this was not just some random friend group, but one she would interact with nearly every day and hang out with multiple times a week. Whenever she and I would call since I stepped down November of 2025, Quell began to become strained with me. I said that right? Strained? Yeah. She would often ask me if there was anything negative going on in my life or in that friend group, framing it as a friend who wanted to genuinely know if there was any issues there and even offering to help if there was. It quickly became a pattern in which I would inform her of something. She would give me a spew of how she hopes it gets better and that she will make an effort to be around more. She would do the exact opposite, growing cold and distant with me. I later found out that she would actively use this use this to badmouth me behind my back to others. I began to notice this behavior around mid-January, so by the time I fully confronted her about this serious situation that we found out about on March 6, 2026, and I would follow up within a week to call her and express the severity that was already strained for me noticing her pattern already. I believe this information is necessary for you, the reader, to understand before I move forward in this explanation because it has hit very close to home for me and upset me greatly. A close friend of mine was diagnosed with a very serious cancer. This friend of mine was friends with Quell for over 3 years. They met the same time she and I met because we were a part of the same friend group. They bonded over being a month apart in age, similar interests, all that. During the Rox situation, Quell would seek comfort from that friend group. This friend of mine, who I'll call Eric, was among these people who would sort her head due to their time zone benefiting when Quell would have sleepless nights over the rock situation. Eric was there for her every step alongside the rest of the friend group. They were there with Quell when she was wailing over the rock situation. Oh my god. They were there praying over Quell on calls. Anything and everything you can imagine a good friend would do in someone in that scenario. Eric did, and more. Eric himself describes himself as never having gotten close to her because of how distant Quell would later become. But conveniently, she would always call Eric a good friend whenever she needed validation or a means to distance herself from what was going on in her life. I'd like to remind everyone also, Quell was with me throughout the tail end of my cancer treatment, my remission, and then when it was finally cleared on November 6, 2025, and saw the long-lasting effects on my body. Hell, I'm still actively recovering from all the trauma my body went through. She was even around when I had my recent cancer scares, my bad. Cancer, I don't know why I said scars. Scares. She knows how cancer has been prominent and a loud enemy in my life, and it affected my body and mind and how it has left me and continues to haunt me. When Eric told me their diagnosis, I was catatonic. I put on a brave face, and the moment I left that conversation, I felt absolutely miserable because I know what it's like to go through. I didn't know if Eric would have wanted me telling anyone, but I did to some close friends because I needed comfort and I needed those close friends. I reached out to be there for Eric as well. I know how lonely and miserable you get on chemotherapy. I needed to help avoid Eric from going through what I went through, which tanked my health more. I have had in my head that if they knew I had told others, they may cut me off for for spreading their misinformation before they were ready for it. I came to peace with that because I understood in my head that it was for the greater good and to make sure they were looked after. This is the exact exchange I had with Quell and the imager link. Let's see here. King of Bugs. Medical / not my news to share. Stays between us, but Blank got diagnosed with cancer earlier, so I've just been consulting him and being there for him. I understand. I'll act as if I don't even know, but thank you for the information. It's just upsetting seeing a friend go through something I went through, you know? Yeah, it really does suck to hear. I'm so jaw dropped. I'll be real. I'm not sure what to say. Type / say. It's just sort of a matter of the fact statement of a fact statement. I don't know. I'm just trying to be there for him in the friend group because I don't know who all he told or not, but everyone seems to be upset either way. Quote, impossible not to be upset about that sort of thing, but I do appreciate you letting me know. You just for my own knowledge. Of course. Sorry if it's just shitty news after shitty news. Afternoon. Hope you have a good day. I'm going to the play again for closing night. Much love. Hope it goes well at the show. On the following calls or conversations, I would emphasize she would need to reach out to Eric, that even if she shouldn't know about their exact diagnosis, that they've been open about being in / out of the hospital, that she should reach out to them in the friend group because we were all grieving what might happen. We were also worried for Eric. We were also worried that Eric would turn for the worse or that their body would reject chemo, and it would kill them quickly. I told her explicitly on multiple occasions things like, you need to reach out because I don't think you can live with yourself knowing that the last conversation you had with them was something as stupid as a character you're writing for roleplay with them. Everything I'd bring it up, she would get distant. I later found out from Void that she used this as an excuse to distance and speak poorly of me to him. She said everything to distance herself from the gravity of the situation. Something along the lines of, every time I talk to Joji, it's always something heavy. I just found out that Joji's friend has cancer. What am I supposed to do about that? This absolutely sickened me to hear. Your friend you met when you met me was just Joji's friend? I even had a full-blown mental crisis over it because it opened up a lot of trauma I went through during BlushCrunch Studios as the team manager. I'm not sure who exactly tipped her off that I wasn't doing well because she started texting me during the crisis, but when I came back from it, I confronted her about it. She gave me her whole spiel, which I will show here. Again, due to the context above and how I was doing mentally during this, I was reasonably incredibly upset when interacting with her. Okay, hold on. It says, King of Bugs, happy Easter if you celebrate. Sorry, I thought I sent my response to this. I had spent the day with my family at their place, and then yesterday spent the day with them for the most part again. Hope you had a good day too. Much love. Yep, you too. Have you, hold on, I'm gonna zoom in. I cannot see this shit. Hello? Oh, hold on. My bad. Yep, you too. You having a late sleep schedule, or are you still coughing and that's keeping you up? Genuinely not sure how to reply to you on how I'm doing or not, because the last time I was honest, you distanced yourself, and the time before that I was honest with you, you called me sobbing your eyes out. Understandable. I haven't been in the best mental space as I've been open about. I'm asking because just honestly want to talk at some point, or spend some time when we're both able, as I feel we haven't chatted in some time, and I wanted to show you I care about you because I do, but I'm not 100% how to show it sometimes. Like, I've been trying to learn more about Fallout in my free time so that I can talk with you about something I know you love. So all this to say, sorry if I haven't been a great friend recently. My intention is never to upset you, and I want to spend more time together when we can. I do not know your struggle as normally I pretend to, but if you want the blunt, honest truth, I nearly killed myself yesterday due to an episode. I'm going to focus on myself and time with my sister, or those who have been there for me, or those who have been there for me who haven't created distance over the things I'm struggling with. With all due respect, much love. I will do my best not to burden you further. You're not a burden, Joji, not at all. Know that you are very loved by many people. You're very loved by many people. I have no idea about anything that happened yesterday with you, but if there's anything that I can do to help you, to help know that I'm here, I'm sorry. And I feel I've been there for you before, even if I've been more distant with my own things going on recently. I've still supported where I can. If you'd like me to give you some space, I'm not going to, of course, force myself into any area of your life where I may not feel welcomed. I'm going to keep it zoomed in. What's it called? Force, you're not welcomed. But if you do want to spend some time or talk face to face or do anything at all, I am coming to blank soon for business, and I was going to share when I'd have time if you want to reconsider. Of course, like I said, no force. Love you loads, genuinely. You have affected my life very positively and given me given amazing advice I've held with me. Says, Quill, you might have forgotten, but I don't. I remember very clearly you calling me up, sobbing your eyes out after asking me to be honest on what troubles me. I remember very clearly all the times you would ask me to open up since October, and whenever I do, how distant you get. I'm not fucking stupid. Your words, not mine. You said you felt I manipulate you when I'm telling you about things going on in my life. I don't know if you understand. Excuse me. I don't know if you understand how much that hurts, especially when you tried saying it was a one-off thing, but your actions speak much louder than your words you can say. I am very hurt right now. And to clarify, no, that episode has had nothing to do with you. You had no hand to play in that. But I hope you understand this isn't me lashing out because you had a hand in that. Not at all. But when I needed support, you blamed me and shoved me off. And that was really fucked up of you to do. And that's why I'm refusing to go to you for emotional support. If someone did that to me right now while I'm vulnerable, I'm a danger to myself. And I'm not going to risk my wellness because suddenly you want to treat me with respect that I've given you throughout the entire time I've known you. Much love. I won't reply further to this because I'm feeling better, as I don't want to make myself spiral. A day later. I'll ask this before I go to bed. What's the last time you talked to blank or made an effort to talk to him? Sends a blank because you've known for over a month, and I'd like to know if you made any effort to. Because when I told you this is around the time you started to distance even from that group of friends. Okay. I don't know if you need someone to tell you how very serious sarcoma is. I don't know what that is. I think that's a type of cancer. Sarcoma is. I'm sure you can ask blank, whose wife works with people who have cancer. You can Google it yourself. And learn about it too. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know if at all I'm in the wrong. I'd sure as hell hope you'd reached out to a friend of yours for 3 years who's going through cancer. We'll talk tomorrow more I'm heading to bed. Feel free to respond whenever. I'll get back to you when I can. Okay. Have you at all? You're proving my point again, distancing when serious things happen. Um, Serious things happens. Respond whenever you're able to or care enough to. Blank never reached out to me on the topic, and I would not want to invade upon their privacy. In these recent months, our friendship has not felt like a friendship. I don't want to continue and feel as if I'm being villainized and have to assumptions of my character. For your sake and my sake, I'm going to leave. I've sent you the remaining 6 months of money I said I give you in one payment. I wish you the best, but I'm going through things on my end. Please do not reach out or contact me. Okay. Like, Joji kind of got a little point here. Like, why have you not reached out asking about this if you've been friends for 3 years? If they get cancer, like, okay, that's kind of fucking yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. That's not a very good not a very good look. Not a very good look. Just go ahead and say that. When she refers to money here, it's because Void pointed out how financially bleak my future looked, and she agreed she would pay me compensation for the last year I worked for her as team manager. Though, please know this was after I retired. You can tell this rather easily since I stepped down in November 2025, and she mentions the next 6 months of money. That all being said, you can see here that I never tried to reach out for money or to extort her. I am aware that's a common narrative people are slinging around to try and slander me. I do not want anything from her since finding out about the Duck Adam video that isn't her apologizing and owning up to what she's done. Before the door was open for a possibility for her to apologize for how she treated me during that. When the Duck video oh my god. When the Duck Adam video came out, that completely and utterly burnt that bridge because I cannot in good faith forgive and forget someone who has done such vile things in my eyes. If she wants to reach out to apologize to Eric or the friend group she abandoned, my DMs are open and I will gladly forward a message for their sake. Continuing on, as I said earlier, since I retired from BlushCrunch Studios, she formed a habit of asking me if there was anything bad happening in our friend group instead of checking in with them herself. When I would tell her, she would distance. When I would call her out and this behavior from since I retired from BlushCrunch Studios up to the boiling point here, I did not appreciate her deflecting everything and refusing to take accountability when she herself has self-admitted multiple times that she is a forward and blunt person who prefers to be told if she messes up, which prior to me leaving the staff team, she would allow me that grace that two adults should have for one another. If we disagree, let's talk it out. It would quickly devolve after I left to focus on my health, and it was honestly because I wasn't providing anything for her, and instead I was holding her accountable for things. It was easier for her to just cut the rope off the bridge. Because of how sudden it was, I admit fault here. I did not respect her wishes to be contacted again. I had a mutual group chat that her and her friends with her and sent her this final message. She left the group chat in the don't alert anyone feature. With the don't alert anyone feature? Oh, okay. At Quell. I've told you on multiple occasions to reach out to him. He is your friend over 3 years who has cancer. Quell. He may not be alive in a couple of months. I cannot fathom how instead of taking accountability, you run off instead of facing your actions or lack thereof. I'm not villainizing you to point out what you are doing is wrong. I do not know what happened to you to change holy shit, so drastically. You know where to contact me if ever, as you have my phone number. I have never been, nor will I ever be the type to be quiet about things I see that are wrong, as I would expect you to point out things of mine if I were in the wrong. Best of, take it as you will. I hope you see the errors of your ways and figure it out. Note, I edited for grammar purposes, but if that changes how you view the validity of the screenshot in particular, that is completely fair. I mean, I don't know what you would have edited. Maybe the best take care part in, or you say grammar. I mean, the message got across. If there's like a conflicting screenshot, there will be one. I was absolutely livid. I think anyone in the right mind would be given the context that I've lived through what Eric has, and the cancer Eric has now is far worse than the one I had. I was not going to make this public for a very long time because I did not want this to somehow getting back to Eric and causing his health to heavily decline due to stress. Again, I know firsthand how much that can kill you. Yesterday, as of me writing this section on June 24th, 2026, did they tell me their treatment is going well? With my own experience, I felt I could no longer withhold this from them any longer, given how every day this situation is unresolved, the more it festers and eats away at me. Today, on the 25th of June 2026, I told them everything, tip to tail, and they gave me permission to post this as long as I keep them anonymous. I wasn't the only one affected by her actions. Very close friends of hers at the time also tried to reach out, and she did much the same. Like Void and another friend who I will call Vernon, Vernon has given me permission to post their screenshots here. Please know that he is just told about how Quell treated me during this situation with Eric, and Vernon would often advise Quell since he was an older member of the friend group. Discord light mode. Who the fuck uses Discord light mode, dude? That's so bad on your eyes. It reads, did you make this animation? This shit's cute. This reminds me of Digital Circus thing. I don't know if you've seen it. God bless you and keep you. This is all the way. Okay. How very disappointed I am in you. I was shown the combo I'm just genuinely shocked at how you changed. I remember how you used to talk shit out before. Look, even if someone doesn't not tell you that they are going through something, if someone informs you of it, you should do your best to be around and support where you can. I don't think Joji is in the wrong for telling you that and giving you the support to reach out, but God forbid, blank does pass away. What if no one told you? What if you never had the chance to reach out? Instead of seeing the grace that you were given, you assume it's an attack of a character? I really hope you can mend things with Joji and the friend group, because never have I ever come back to such an holy shit. Cannot fucking read this. Never have I ever come back to such an upset, and I know you are better than this. If you end up blocking me for trying to steer you back on course, so be it. But know you will always have a corner of my heart where I have cared for you and loved you. And a part of loving people is knowing to point out the wrong they do, as you point out the good that they have. God bless you. And holy shit, the you in the end is just fucking me up. God bless you and keep you. Yeah, I kind of gotta agree with them here. Hold on. Sends a Bible verse. I don't want to read that. Anyway, next up, it says, wait, what the fuck? Wait, is this in a group chat? I didn't think so. Wait, what? Anonymous person, good luck checking back in. I don't know if you remember, but the reason you and I even became friends was because of me and blank had informed you of Joji being in the hospital, and you helped organize some stuff with me and her to help Joji feel better while it was in ER. I had dropped everything to be there for Joji, and I appreciate you being there to offer support when you could. When you care about people, you stick with them through the thick and thin. I know you're capable of good because you have shown me before you are capable of good. I've been praying for you to see how this shit is affecting people around you, and I'm sure it'll affect you too if you go down this path. It is very lonely when you choose to cut people off like this. I do hope you see that. Joji had been upset past few months over it, and you becoming distant. And after talking to it more, is Joji's pronouns it? I think that's what's like tripping me up. Talking to it more on that and reading the combo it sent me, I don't know if it's because you're trying to avoid things that upset you or something, but I need you to understand that these things have to be communicated in a timely manner. You don't just get to ignore them, grow distant because people take note. I know you are younger than me. You probably don't have that experience. When I hear Joji now still really upset about it, and hearing that oh my God. Oh, what does it say? Hearing that everyone else in the group been going through grief over and you still having to brave face for blank. I don't know, that shit don't sit right with me. I really wished you would just own up to what happened and apologize and y'all can move past it. If you need someone to talk or back it up, you are genuinely going to try and apologize. I would help you because I don't think any of them want you to turn out to be a stranger. They always had seen us as family. God bless you, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from. At Quell, I think this is from the group chat. Thanks for making me cry all morning, by the way, after I extended a hand to help you, and all you did was block me after I appreciated the thumbs up. After. I really appreciated the thumbs up. You have hurt everyone I care and cherish and love, while you, while you at it remember to block everyone in blank because we all know what you did and seen the screenshots and know you are in the wrong. And none of us want you in here if you're going to act like this. And for whatever it's worth, as a Catholic, despite the sin you are doing right now and pain you're causing everyone who loved you, I forgive you because it's the right thing to do. And I sincerely hope you get everything you wanted to out of this. God bless you and keep you. I hate this grammar. It's so shit. Oh my God. I hope that one day you can realize that money you covet don't bring you happiness. I hope you realize that before you are left alone to your own devices, and that you realize that you are burning bridges with people who cared and love you before it's too late, so you can right the wrongs of your actions and cleanse yourself of sins. Jesus loves you and God forgives your sins and you can atone for them, but need the words. And Bible quote from Matthew 6:24. She ended up leaving the group chat and flipped the middle finger off. Okay. Anyone who would comfort her about it, she would block and cut off. Or confront her about it, she would block and cut off. She wouldn't give them the time of day. People who have known her for years and have been with her through the thick and thin. People, she would say, meant the world to her. Reasonably, people were upset. Her blocking people extended for those who had well intentions and those who were simply confused because of it. For my friend group alone, that counts 13 people she's known for over 3 years. She would much rather completely abandon us than own up to the fact that she let us all in a time of upset over a mutual friend. Many of us, which she would often call her found family. She then went ahead and cut many more people off due to this situation, getting it to a couple of close friends of mine who were previously associated with BlushCrunch Studios. The primary one who comes to mind is Void, who no longer wished to be her friend after what she did. I hope you all understand now why I want closure so much and why in good faith I cannot accept an apology from her. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I can agree with everything that I just read for the most part. The Gary page at the very end I think is malicious, but this page so far, okay, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. If you're not going to take the accountability or at the very least reach out to somebody because they're going through a hard time after knowing about it and then getting distant, that's kind of fucking weird. It's really fucked up. And then you block them after you get confronted about it? Yeah, I'm sorry. What? She not only did me wrong, she did my close friends who considered family to me wrong. She did my staff team when I worked there wrong. She did the community that I was a part of and I moderated for wrong. She even did the people who opposed rocks back then wrong by openly disregarding them and helping harbor rocks. These experiences hit too close to home for me given I fought cancer. She was there for me during that and I could not wrap my head around why she could not be there for our mutual friend. If this changes your opinion on me or why I'm outspoken about all this, that is fine. But I am not the type to be quiet and when I see something wrong, I have never been the person and I won't start being that person now just because the reader might feel a bit cross with me. There are experiences I've had and my friends have had and those around me have had with her. I remind you all that the persona you know as her and who she actually is are two separate entities in of itself. It is an act. She will feign ignorance. She will feign innocence. She will act up that she, quote unquote, doesn't know any better. And publicly have people infantilize her as a silly, quirky girl who can't do anything wrong. She is a multi-millionaire woman who will turn 22 in July of this year. The thing with Eric happened 2 months ago. Oh wow, okay, that's kind of recent. That's kind of recent. The thing she did to me or allowed to happen to me happened 2 years ago. These aren't things she did when she was a child. This is new. This is reoccurring. This is her pattern. Threads from X/Twitter. Oh God, we're only on page 3 of... Oh God, there's a lot more. We're already an hour and 10 minutes into this shit. Threads from Twitter. These sections going forward I will use specifically to put my X/Twitter threads into a Google Doc so people can more easily access them. I have said just about everything I am comfortable saying via my previous document linked above and or via Twitter threads. And any of the threads I post onto there require more context that I may offer in this document. I will, if you've kept up with my X/Twitter, I take no offense if you skim over my section. Though bolded text in the middle of any thread is addendums. Said that wrong, but I'm going to continue. For further context and correcting grammar, though abbreviations will be written in full without bold text or ease of reading. I will also link any sources or references alongside clarifying anything that is put into the section. Any threads that have a continuation will be transcribed here. Will also have language like answer in thread, question in thread. This is for those who are not on X/Twitter or may have missed such to be able to read it here. Sorry, my mic cord is like smacking into my desk. Evidence is old thread. Original tweet thread here posted June 16th, 2026 reads as followed. I'd like to remind people that the new evidence proves that she left y'all in the dark for 2 months with about knowing about the Rock situation. She lied to y'all. She lied to all of your faces and let Rocks around for 2 additional months where he could have caused more harm. He got paid for it? Is this still up? Oh, whoa. I was getting paid from August to October when I got fired. So yes, Shoji's statement is correct. Oh, God. Okay. All right. By someone who actively endangered children, as someone who was tasked with the safety of her community and staff, I was absolutely disgusted by this. Jesus Christ, was absolutely disgusted by this, and I'm upset that she lied to me and my staff team at the time about this. So many of us harassed, so many of us manipulated. For what? I'll be contacting other victims in regards to this and moving forward with a more comprehensive post. I sincerely apologize to those in BlushCrunch Studios who I have supported to help protect and guide. I didn't know she knew in advance. I would have made a statement sooner. I hope you are all well. In regards to Rox's thread, original tweet thread here posted on June 19th, 2026. If you cannot open Twitter/X, this is Rox's thread that is referenced. Read as follows. I was being told that people are arguing about Rox's thread. If you look over the evidence and understand its legitimacy, it's not a moral argument of taking sides. I believe the thread is simply here to confirm the pattern which she operates from and to prove it has been happening for a long time. I do not support either of them, but the reason that thread upset me so much is because it confirmed even further that there were even more lies told to me and in turn the rest of the public as well. It isn't productive to go in circles about moral high grounds in regards to just simply the truth. I'm sorry if I worded anything here wrong. It has been a very long few days. To clarify, this doesn't absolve him of anything. I do not forgive him. I'm not siding with anyone. Let's see. I implore people to look over the information and form their own opinions, and please do not harass anyone. Thank you for reading. Question and thread. Oh, it's a question and thread. Or continue. Okay, cool. Question in thread. Did you check out this thread? Referring to Rox's thread, it does confirm some stuff to be misinformation, such as FF files being given immediately and then them still being in contact. Still doesn't resolve Quell from any responsibility, but wanted to send this just to inform. From what it means, Quell just exaggerated about the difficulty of getting Dandy's world for, I don't know, pettiness? But yeah, Flavor Frenzy files she could not notice in parentheses, considering we don't know when messages was edited and Rox actually did get blocked by her. Answer in thread. My statements about files were in regards to Dandy's World files. People were spreading misinformation and saying he somehow could have withheld it from her, which is misinformation. Legally and from public knowledge, since she was copywriting it, see takedowns of Dandy's World clones. She could not hold onto these files even if she wanted to. Even people from outside of the company in public would piece that together. So when I saw people lying about him, quote, holding Dandy's World files hostage to force himself to stay on the project for two more months, that wasn't the case. It also wasn't why I stated that in regards to said files. What he said and what he did are two completely different narratives. The core of that thread was to show his compliance and cooperation in regards to Dandy's World files and how she kept contact further than that, which I am pointing out is the most important takeaway, as it proves her pattern behavior. I hope this clears it up if there was any confusion on my personal stance and her opinion on the matter as a victim in this. She also openly claimed that she was, quote, fighting tooth and nail for Flavor Frenzy files. She did no such thing either. You can see the logs from him yourself. I have no doubt if she demanded the files from him, he would have felt as if he needed to bulge due to legal pressure. Question in thread. What is your end goal for Quell? When we say we want a response, is it an apology we're looking for? The answer in thread is, hold on. Got a water bottle now. Just because I, as one of the victims, have decided not to accept her apology does not mean that every other victim is on the same page as me. I want the other victims who are harmed by this to have their closure. I also want this closure of her taking accountability. We deserve that much. Forgiveness from me will not be offered to her due to many layers of what she's done for me and what was revealed. Before the Rox thread, I was willing to accept an apology. Now it is strictly for closure on my end that I want her to take accountability. I also have openly spoken up about wanting people to form their opinions and not harass anyone. I know many other victims also do not want harassment sent to anyone. I can speak for myself strictly or what other victims have told me. Questions plus comment in thread. A, asking in thread. You don't find it even a little suspicious Rox, quote, randomly, or not quote, yeah, in quotation marks, quote, randomly gave the... Wait, what? A, asking in thread. B, replying to... This is fucking confusing. Okay, hold on. Okay. Questions plus comment in thread. A, asking in thread. You don't find it even a little suspicious Rox, quote, randomly gave back the Frenzy files after Dandy's World got into an expo and suddenly there's a hate campaign with tons of unproven evidence to paint Quell as worse? He wants revenge and it's virtue signaling to hide his true intentions. B, replying to A. This is baseless conjecture to defend Quell. Like it or not, Quell is guilty. A, replying to B. I've seen zero videos or text of her directly defending or covering up anything Rox did, but yeah, she's guilty by association. Rox has the chance to expose her alleged cover-ups, but he focused on her saying his models are ass. If Quell's response is trash, I will concede. Answer in thread at A. If my memory serves me right, he reached out to another victim to try and give the files to the victim. If he reached out to another victim to try and give the files to the victim and have it delivered to Quell. It aligned with when he first uploaded a document about updating how he's been and reflecting. There was a thread in which someone questioned him about the Flavor Frenzy files. I believe that lines up with him attempting to give the files this year to Quell. It aligns with the story that I can confirm from my end, what I've observed from his profile and what he claims. I did not think it was done to, quote, make him look better. I do sincerely believe he is trying to give them back. That being said, again, to reiterate, I do not support him. I state all of this as a retelling of what happened as a matter of fact. Botting victims thread. Okay. Have another sip of water here. Anyway. All right. Very odd that someone is botting to victim attacks. It is a very common thing for people who wish to silence others, by the way. They buy bots to try to swing the narrative and discredit people they dislike on platforms. It's called platform manipulation. Not a clue who's doing it, though. If you cross-reference any of these, you can see they're all NFT bros that either post about their products or very maliciously politically charged. The best way to handle these bots is to block them. Do not engage with them. They try to bait people into engaging so that they can gain traction and do platform manipulation. Block and report so whoever is paying money to harass me and other victims has to pay out of pocket. Hit them where it hurts. Okay. Image tweets for reference. These were under my post. Joji and Rox, best friends forever. You know you're defending a known pedophile. You and Rox are friends. Rox is a pedophile. Why are you doing the lies? Okay, this is all the makings of a coordinated takedown campaign by you, Duck, and Rox. I have been aggregating the data ports to send to authorities. Hard to believe a liar. Poop oob. What? What? Okay. We know you're friends with the pedo. It is amazing that you actively choose to side with a known pedophile and suggesting what as resolved 2 years ago isn't significant. At this point, I'm just trying to give these more traction because I keep seeing more and more tweets still running off false statements and a painful amount of misinformation going around, despite the correct information being available right under people's noses. Well, team pedo. So you're team pedo then? Wait to see what Quill says. You guys are so fake with this shit. These were under Pringle's tweet. Okay. Context quote tweet. More bots or continuing. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna assume continuing. More bots. Remember, platform manipulation is against TOS of Twitter. If you see any bots, remember to simply block them and ignore. This makes whoever is buying them have to pay more money. You can tell it's a bot by their post history and /or date it was created. Commenter, one of the accounts literally pushes NFTs in 2026. These are definitely bots. Reply, platform manipulation from folk who don't want me to have a voice. Very strange. I mostly show this so y'all know what I'm going through and so y'all don't fall for it. There's also been people just sending mass amounts of hate to myself and other victims. It's a lot. NFT Monkey on Reddit, they're saying this is a smear campaign against Quell. Are you going to jail? You're trying to cancel Quell. Fake. Again, under my tweets, it also appears they're botting likes, 10 views to 3 likes. Okay, wow. Context, quote retweet. More bots. This is actually pretty funny because it follows the narrative exactly to a certain Redditor who's been spewing the exact same things. Take my messages here with a grain of salt as it's just speculation, but it is very odd. You guys know she can't talk because she is suing you. That's why. Doxing is illegals. You're ruining my favorite game. Are you older than Rox? Why lie about him grooming you, liar? Alleged Reddit thread. BlushCrunch Studios higher-ups allegedly slandering me and other victims by saying we want extortion money. I love actual proof of these claims because, as far as I'm aware, not a single soul has demanded or asked for a cent. Quell, do you think anyone who opposes you is in it for cash? Considering how Quell is with things, this would not surprise me if someone on staff leaked this genuinely to this person. By the way, let it be known, I have never asked BlushCrunch Studios for settlement money or demanded some sort of extortion. This is slander. That's illegal. Okay. And this is that Reddit thread. Hold on, we'll read it in just a second. Man, I have like this, my throat is killing me, bro. All right. I have to call BS on some things. Not to offend any of you, but I couldn't care less about the fandom. Roblox is not my thing. I am, however, friends with one of the Discord server moderators who wanted my opinion on something. corporate sent out a message, which I'm not posting as it is not mine to post. It would be better coming from them anyhow than a random. But the reason my opinion was asked for is I have some experience with tricky legal situations. I'll start with the obvious. Quell cannot respond right now. I cannot imagine I can't imagine legal even letting her do so. The main reason is in the course of being investigation into what's going on. This has now been referred over to the police and is an ongoing criminal investigation. I don't know all the details. The mods are not going to know all the details either, but the publicly painted brushstrokes look like this. Some former employee, Choji orchestrated a plan with a YouTuber, Duck with a disgraced former employee, Rox, a pedophile, and an attempt to extort the company. Some degree of funds may have been paid in the past individually or collectively. I don't know the extent of any of that. However, they found enough damning evidence that it is not just petty game drama and is now a serious criminal matter. I tried to make sense of a doc floating around, but I don't understand the players, and really it's not even going to matter. Some people fabricated a series of interactions in order to extort a company. There's evidence of that in some format or another, and now going to be one of those things where it plays out with LEOs. I don't know what that means. And then whenever court system is ultimately falls into after determinations are made, maybe one of the Discord mods will be brave and post the messages because it paints a very different picture than what a couple people are trying to spread. I'm not going to be any more help than this. I'm just someone that understands trouble, and the three I mentioned plus possibly more people are in for a lot of trouble. Okay. Comment from Pinky. Mind you, I never made a single dollar from BlushCrunch Studios during or after my work there. Yes, if you severely screw someone over and manipulate and traumatize them, they will speak out against you. That's how it goes. Oh no, the consequences of one's actions. Reply to Pinky. Ditto. I was never hired as a staffer. Is that staffer? To receive payment, nor am I doing this for money. I've literally told people on staff before I signed an NDA that I wouldn't want money because it complicates the position I was I'm being given. Excuse me. What are we genuinely waffling about? Commentator. Why are they calling you narcissistic? Oh my god. Reply to commentator. Apparently, this is what I look like, allegedly orchestrating a plan with Duck Adam, who I am openly not a fan of. I cannot emphasize how genuinely this angers me and upsets me. Image that was attached to the reply for reference. Yeah, and clearly dude does not like Adam. Don't worry over victims. DW over victims? What? Okay. Okay, this is like the last page. Cool. Yeah, it's the last page. Cool. It says DW over victims thread. Original tweet is posted here. Reads as follows. I'm a bit disheartened that a lot of people are starting to shift into the mentality that the game is more important than actual living. Breathing people. I understand that some of you may have hyperfixations or a deep connection or love with the game. That is okay. But I have been seeing more and more comments about how, quote, I hope this isn't true so I can enjoy the game. Or, quote, well, if she speaks up about it, I will accept the apology. I need to make something very clear for my standing on this. We are people who have been hurt by this situation. This is a very harmful situation that has hurt many folk. The apology she may or may not take is not for you all to accept aside from lying for 2 months, as that she deliberately lied to us all collectively. That she and Rox did to me. Wait. What she and Rox did to me is for me and me alone to accept, which I have openly said I simply want closure. I am not accepting an apology. What she did to the victims who she lied to is for them and them alone to accept. What we should not be doing is speaking over those affected. We should not be uplifting them. I ask you, please, I am not your caretaker or voice of reason, but please do not say such things that dismiss us. It is painful to all of us involved. Again, send no hate to anyone, and please educate yourself. Form your own opinions as well, and please stay safe and well during this. Next page. I beg of you to read over, I beg of you, read the other testimonies too. This part is a recap from Twitter of my thoughts throughout the situation. However, there's some new stuff, but not entirely new. Hello, I'm Pringle Creek, or just Pringle. You know me as Chip on Twitter. And today I will be archiving my thread from Twitter, my perspective on the situation. In this document, I will be telling you in a periodic order of the following events through my through my lens. Keep in mind, this isn't an expose document of Quell. I made this document to show what caused this situation to spark in the first place. Please don't contact any of the people here. I will be including calls, but through memory, as I cannot record stuff in general because my PC breaks a lot. Here is all evidence, including a few videos regarding Quell through a single folder. The evidence, okay. Evidence is provided. I was like, I don't want to have to cross-reference. I mean, I don't mind cross-referencing. I just have to I have to pause and I have to go back and do it. Okay. Just a disclaimer, I will refer to different people in this situation with other names. Rox as Jake, Tom, another victim of Jake back in Data Brawl, as Tori, requested by her. I wasn't entirely close to Quell, nor did I work in BlushCrunch in any way. However, I was friends with her for a year after the Jake DW situation. Okay, happened. Let's see here. We were aware of each other due to Jake being friends with me and her at the time at Pixelbit. We know each other. We were both distant. When BlushCrunch was starting, the other Jake victims and I, not from Pixelbit, were rightfully mad at both Jake and Quell. As Dandy's World was starting to gain popularity, I kept fighting and spreading awareness about my friends and me. We hated that Jake was given a platform. We assumed Quell was a defender of Jake, but we didn't do raids on BlushCrunch or any of that. I was just spread it around on Twitter because I wanted to go with a respectful route. Well, I can tell you right now, going on Twitter for a respectable route, that is not where you need to go. Last place you need to go for fucking Jesus Christ. Twitter sucks. Okay, moving on. On October 5th, 2024, Quell made the decision to get rid of Jake. Friends who knew Jake and the victims of Jake celebrated when the decision was finally made. We were all happy that such a terrible person had finally been removed from the team. On the 8th of October, a friend of Quell who came into an anti-Jake/Quell server after the decision was finally announced to the public. His name is Void. I keep seeing this name get thrown around a lot. Void, and he helped Quell a lot in this situation. We were told how Jake made excuses that made it harder for them to fully understand the situation, how Quell knew some parts but not all of it, and since they did not have any contact with old victims, it was harder to get information. Now since the server was deleted, most things are lost. However, my old messages with Void have revealed a story to it. I mentioned before that I was given an apology by a friend of hers, which you guys now know is Void. At the time, she was dealing with a hurricane. I was fine with not getting an apology until later because her life was endangered, but I would rather have her be safe. Pringle. Honestly, though, I do wish I contacted you before. I don't have contact with Blank, but I do have, a lot of other victims. It's okay. I know X-Trail is working with Quell to try and get her in contact with victims. If she wasn't being subjected to a hurricane, she'd get in touch sooner. I really hope she'd be okay. Is she in the spot where the hurricane will hit? I believe so in terms of the area it'll hit. Shit. I think she'll be okay, but I appreciate the sentiment. This is a transcript. YouTube. A year has passed. This is when the Duck Atom against Quell was starting up. I wanted to make a defense of Quell because at the time I was under the belief that Quell did tell the full truth. I asked Tori if Quell gave her an apology in private since I wasn't given one, but she said yes. But in a group chat, she assumed I was. In. By the way, question: did Quell actually apologize to you directly? Because for some reason, people think Quell still has contact with Jake. I think in the group chat they apologized. Are you still there? Maybe. You remember what it was called? Bro, I was not there. Crying emoji. They never apologized to me specifically, but one of her friends did. Okay, then I can't. Oh, I have to zoom in on that. Oh my god. Quell says, and the screenshot below reads, Thank you. And yeah, he villainized a lot of individuals to me. I believe now this was to better hold his narratives and lies up. This is in 24, yeah. Making anyone else untrustworthy. We've been digging a bit on him, and it's actually a crazy amount of time knowingly done this type of behavior. Really concerning things I've seen for sure. Hopefully he will never have a platform again, truly. That's like at least that's the hope at least. I honestly just wish he doesn't move onto any more fandoms after this, but that might be wishful thinking. I should also say thank you. I appreciate you sharing though. I hope I'm not coming off as rude or anything. Quill says, of course, not rude at all. I just appreciate having the chance to let you personally know I do care deeply when it comes to making sure he has no platform like that again. I'm not one for drama. Mostly in a public space, I believe communication can really help, but if I holy shit, if I do know he is attempting to reach into the Roblox fandom again at all, I'll be sure to do what I can. But you still kept him on for 2 months even after this? Tori shows the screenshot. Okay, I just read this. Cool. Man, I didn't even need to zoom in. I could have just looked down. God damn it. Ugh. Okay. I mentioned in my original thread that I never received an apology from her, nor do I have proof now that I was given an apology from Void. Now, yeah, okay. I do have his testimony during the situation here. I'll admit I was a little sad regarding the fact that I wasn't given an apology from her. I didn't complain since she's a busy person, and I felt bad felt bad about bothering Void regarding it. It's still been 2 years since then, and I moved on. However, something you can notice is that in the quote that she mentioned, she's, quote, not one for drama, mostly in a public space. I find irony in this, especially with the moderators mentioning how avoidant she can be. I recommend reading more into Joji's document. Regardless, I'm going to go into more detail about the Quell defense doc that others attempted to make, and the details of what the original document was supposed to look. This is how it was supposed to go. Start the document/thread with witness testimonies, both regarding Duck and his behavior. Explain recent events and how Duck Adam is lying publicly to try and save his image. Go into details of how he isn't a reliable narrator, how he gets facts wrong, how he gets facts wrong and timelines mixed up, etc. Conclude with Quell's statement on the matter. At the beginning of the first day after the video was released, people wanted Quell to respond. I told Void about it since he had contact with her. Unfortunately, I got told this. Hey, so I'm talking to Quell right now. The only concern with making a doc/reply is that Quell doesn't really want to directly give this guy any more attention by posting it in her server, especially since most of the server members are kids who we personally don't think need to be exposed to this. We made that mistake before with this whole reply video ordeal, and that was just the wrong move. And I think he was wanting that attention given his bragging about the video metrics. If you plan on making any sort of follow-up thread against his video, would you be interested in posting a document written by Quell where she details her response to this and she talks about the situation? I know that's a bit of an ask, but Quell doesn't really have Twitter or other personals, just her YouTube and TikTok, and we don't really want to throw a vid together. I hope this makes sense. She is 100% on board to talk about this. We just aren't 100% on how to deliver the message at the moment. Okay. I was so on board with making a document, along with having a Quell statement on it too. I got 3 others on board with this as well, since they trusted me and I was considered closer to Quell. A few hours later on the same day, Quell wanted to get in a call with me. Void made a group chat for both Quell and me, while I got my boyfriend in on this as well, since I was nervous. Proof that the group chat did exist. Luckily, I'm still in it. Sherlock Gnomes. Oh, okay, cool. Cool. In the call, both Void and my partner can vouch for this. She bailed out on the statement for the document. She didn't want kids to give attention to Duck Adam, which I understand. It's Duck Adam. He tends to be an unreliable narrator. However, what made it more difficult was that she didn't want to get DMs from Jake. While I didn't respect her choice, not only did this make... Wow, what am I doing? While I did respect her choice, not only did this make things a lot harder, I understand her side, but this was also her responsibility. We didn't want to pressure her fully, but due to oh my god, I can't fucking read, dude. I can't fucking read. But due to the decision, there are more roadblocks as we went into the defense document. The whole time, my partner and I have been running back and forth with Void to gather evidence defending Quell. I would ask Void what he knew about the situation because he was the only source I considered. Our writers, who were also Jake's victims, began to grow stressed as we progressed further into the next days. Deck Adam GC. Okay. This will be an impossible task because all this took place 4 years ago. I'm sorry, we can't do anything about it. Quell can't access DMs. We mean from Quell. Not likely. We can't. I guess Gold is the partner. We can still ask though. Quell needs to supply her own screenshots, otherwise it'll be a hearsay situation, and hearsay is not good enough. Gold says, I mean, all the information again was given from Adam was the same regurgitated information from October and can be disproven with the same information because he's just likely taking old stuff and making random claims with it. I see. Well, I think the most important detail is, though, we can't disprove a lot of things with some resources from Quell. Wait, we can't disprove a lot of things without some resources from Quell. Okay. This whole thing caused us so much stress between Red and Blue. Red was scared and thought people would take us as liars, while Blue was worried for Red. What we both agreed on is that we really need help from Quell herself. The next 2 days, while Red was going through a lot as they kept writing and I didn't have a stable connection, my partner would ask Void if Quell could provide any past experiences with Jake to debunk any evidence. And Void responds with, all of the screenshots I've sent to Pringle yesterday were in group chats with Quell. Quell is not forwarding direct DMs. She doesn't not want to be directly involved. What? Okay. But hey, we want to write a segment on you to kind of defend you in this document. No, she doesn't want to provide any evidence. So, what? Okay. Sure, dude. Yeah. In the end, we were stuck. A lot of us believed in Quell at the time, but not a single evidence from rocks is what really concerned us. We really wanted to show her credibility since we were all very forgiving of Quell. We did make the document, however, I advise you not to use it to defend Quell. Not a single ounce of evidence was directed by her or only purely by Void himself. To explain why I was so defensive and night guarding over Quell, I have to open up a bit about my situation with Jake. When I was 14, I met Jake when he was 17. He and I would open, hello? Document? Yo, shit is bugging out. What the fuck just happened? Sorry. Misinput. I met Jake when he was 17. He and I would open up pretty easily, though there was an obvious time he wanted to date me while I was dating someone else. He was my best friend, just like Quell's. In the situation regarding Tori, my friend group and I split Jake off in our own ways. However, after the situation, I became very lonely. My partner at the time broke up with me, and I had no one else to talk to. This mindset became increasingly more difficult to handle, and I got to a point where I kept falling back into nostalgia. At around 15 years old, I sent Jake a friend request. Okay. In a way, when Quell told me her experience with Jake and how much of a creep he was, I felt seen. I can't tell if I was projecting onto her or not, but she went through the same experience as me. I can't help but feel so much empathy at the time, as I told others who knew Jake as is victims or of Jake. We all felt empathy regarding the situation between her and Jake. All of us knew how Jake acted around the time periods, Data Brawl and Pixelbit. So when we heard that she went through the same tactics he used on her, we all felt really bad. Especially me, someone who went back to their groomer despite him making me making me feel uncomfortable, not him. I'm just as hypocritical as Quell. The only difference is I cut him off as soon as he got exposed in Pixelbit. I was too blind to see that she knew because of my own empathy. Okay. On April 20th of this year, Void reached out to me regarding Quell. It was about Eric and Joji's situation, though never revealed any further until now. I was greatly concerned. I did not want to believe it at first, and I didn't dig further. I was dealing with college at the time. On May 2nd is when he finally told me Quell lied to me. On May 2nd is when he finally told me that Quell lied to me. Throughout this being revealed to me, I've never grown such an empty hole in my life. I feel guilty that I failed my friends, victims of Jake I don't even know, people who knew Jake beforehand. I feel horrible for falling for her lies again and again. It felt like the trust meant nothing to her, and I hate it. I hate that I fell for it again. I hate how weak-willed I became because of her lies. I hated that I formed this personification of a Quell and how she's this she's this goody shoes, these goody two shoes. I think that's what she was trying to say, or this person is trying to say. I don't know not to misgender you. I was not trying to. Let's see. My heart skips a beat. There's no words to describe how I felt. I wanted the situation to spark in the first place, not because of jealousy, not because of Duck Adam, but because of my friends being treated and lied to all our faces. This needed to come out. It's been rubbing me the wrong way ever since I was told this information. It just stings me that me and my other friends who knew Jake trusted her. Even if I have less experience with Quell, I'm doing this because of those who are affected by her. I feel horrible for everyone who has to relive through this, and I don't want them to go through this alone. This is why I wanted to spread awareness for my friends. I take everything back of what I said in my original thread at Quell, and this is crossed out. Small edit. While I wouldn't like for you to contact my friends, I give you full permission to contact me. I sent a message in a group chat we're in. Hopefully, I'm fine with you not responding. However, I'm fine with you not responding, though I'm giving you this opportunity to reach out to me if you would like to. With Sam. Hold on, I'm just checking here. 22, 20. Oh, this is okay. Don't have too much more. I'm just gonna get a water. I clicked on this and I was like, I saw 60 pages somewhere. I think that was the Joji section. Or maybe I was zoomed in. I don't know where the fuck I saw 60 pages. I was over here thinking, I was like, oh, I'm going to be here for another hour and 30 reading that. Anyway, Sam's testimony. Sugar warning, content warning, mentions of dark ship / pro ship, recording without consent. Okay. I had met Quell at the start of December in 2024. After she had noticed my modeling work and asked if it was for VR chat, she asked if I could show them to her in a game, which marked the beginning of our friendship. The majority of our conversations and hangouts were over calls, with little to no actual text aside from her asking to get on VR chat or a call to hang out. We had established very early on that I was a minor in our friendship, but it did not end. Quell did not groom me. Okay, Quell did not groom me. There are very clear boundaries set after we had discussed my age, and she had acted accordingly as a result. Over the course of our friendship, Quell had turned into a sort of trusted adult for me. She gave me advice and even helped me get away with one of my abusers at the time. Afterwards, I confided in her about my struggles with being around bad people, and she offered a lot of advice and even suggested I join her friend group if it would help me get away from them. I never did get to join those groups, so after I had successfully cut them off with Quell and Joji's support, I found myself alone. Okay, this is a link. Yo, told one of my friends in my friend group about you. They'd love to meet at some point over VR chat. They downloaded it to meet you. They would be on PC whenever you're open, though, whether it's tonight, tomorrow, or whenever. Yeah, of course. I'm busy confronting blank right now. So, hey, I'm here if you need someone. Okay. Wait. I'm here if you need someone, blank. Wait, when was this sent? On the 24th, and this is an hour later at 4? Yes, okay. Yeah, if you're open sometime tonight, maybe you could, and my friend can talk a little on that. They're actually the one with the ID that I've known for a while. Oh yeah, I'd like that. That would be nice. Cole says, so they'd have good advice as someone older on the topic. I'm sure if I brought up all the odd cases with them, they'd be 100% agree. I just personally didn't because, unfortunately, it all involved Danny's World fictives, which I assumed if you've heard the stuff the stuff they did, you'd cringe at or at. Okay, and then it cuts off. Hey, did you ever get any news back about whether or not I can join? Oh, sorry, I didn't ask them. I should bring it up. Wait, but I should bring it back up to them. Okay. What are you doing today? Joji. Okay. Local lucky guy enthusiast. Chip posted further evidence, and I can testify being aware of this person and Quell being close. She introduced me to them on VR chat to have a chat with Sam because Quell described them to me as well-meaning but troubled. Okay. Okay, there's no zoom in screenshot, so I gotta zoom in. Okay, Quell, if you don't want to meet that friend tonight, by the way, since you're tired and have stuff on your mind, they're available soon, though otherwise, turns out that friend cut them off. They were, when they were approached. Weirdo. I can meet them tonight. Let me know when I just need to wake up. I think this is in just relation to this. Yeah, okay. This is evidence meaning to showcase that she introduced me to them, that she vaguely mentioned the weirdos Sam was dealing with. Okay. An old friend that I had split off with after friend group's issues had come back into contact with me a bit later after I cut off my original abuser. I confided in this friend about a lot of different things, and he began trying to persuade me indulging in pro-ship/dark ship material. He would tell me it was safe to use as a coping mechanism. He eventually began offering me his own spaces to cure my loneliness. Out of fear of being even more alone, I took his offer, joined some servers on an alt account, and began talking about those thoughts on a private Twitter account he was present on. He learned about my friendship with Quell quite early in our reconnection, and he asked me to ask her why one of his alt accounts was banned from BlushCrunch. This was the first time she had found out about this friend and what he was doing. After I asked, she looked into it and found that he was posting pro-ship art on servers and had been reported for it. Okay. Quill immediately told me I should question them about it, which scared me. I lied about a conversation I was having with him where I was confronting him. She told me, though, that there was, quote, no use in trying to reason with those people and just to block him, and I was scared to. He had already offered me a sense of security I had never felt before, making the prospect of leaving terrifying. I dodged around the subject a bit, and the conversation quickly drifted away from him. She already considered him someone who was trying to take advantage of me after that encounter and was aware of his existence. He was brought up every now and again in other conversations where we would joke about my abusers, poking fun at them. He would also come up when I tried to ask about the friend group she'd offered to introduce me to. She would constantly dance around the topic despite having originally offered this to help me stay away from bad people. A few months later, Quell began asking me one morning about making a Twitter account in an attempt to get me to spill my Vince account. She then asked me when I was available to call after not giving her a satisfactory answer. I found out during said call that she received a report from someone at BlushCrunch about my presence on these servers and my existence of the Twitter account. Terrified, I had immediately begun to tell her everything about my relationship with him and that happened between us. But in my fear of her leaving, I lied about not being in contact with him. She asked for proof that I had left him, and I couldn't provide proof that I had when she told me to. We ended the call since she claimed she was still talking with others regarding the situation, and she eventually sent me a message a few minutes later, cutting me off. Okay. I was only informed recently after reconnecting with Joji during the peak of the Quell situation that she had been recording this call and had been flaunting it to her close friends. She claimed that she was proud of her confrontation on that call. While I did lie about my contact with the groomer, I had been confiding in her about those thoughts and what he had been doing to me, almost on the brink of tears. Even then, I could tell she didn't believe me even when I told her those things, which is why I lied about being in contact with him out of fear of losing one of the most important people to me at the time. Says, yes, I remember now. Sorry for not recognizing you exactly at first. She would mention someone she was talking to on VR who was, quote, excuse me, good but misguided. I'm assuming she was referring to you then. Oh, shit. The reason I brought this up is because Blank is a very close friend of mine and was a close friend of Quell's. I mentioned you messaged me because I was asking him if he recognized you. He said that Quell confronted you on a Discord VC and that she recorded it and that she sounded proud of herself. Does that ring any bells at all? Was the guy a part of it? Moderation team? No. Isn't I don't know what this is supposed to say. Exent remember if she told people I'd be records, I still feel so fucking violated. Blank was never on the staff team and would handle moderation. She kept telling people I was such a horrible person and I was danger of people. Uh, okay. Sorry, I'm having trouble. IMSO. I don't know what that means. She would often do that. She would disagree with someone, then demonize or alienate them. I'm well aware of that sort of behavior she does. It's okay. I'm on call with Blank. She never got to tell me about you being groomed, and she never told Blank that either. She also never told Blank you were a minor. Okay. I knew, and this is like redacted, I knew I remember that fucking name. Man, oh yeah, I am pretty sure she recorded them without their consent. Well, she played me a recording of their voice call. She streamed it. Yeah, she did. She played me a recording of the voice call. She was very proud of her confrontation too. You should ask them about that. Okay. Person, I genuinely remember her framing it to that she met some person on VR chat and discovered an account that they either ran or followed that was involved in pro ship stuff. She recorded. Can somebody tell me what pro shipping is in the comments? I don't know what this is. Sorry, I dark ship pro ship. I have no fucking idea. She recorded the call with said person for whatever reason, I don't know, to protect herself or what, and streamed it to me. It kind of felt like she was basically interrogating them to confirm they lied to her. Once she did, she ended up cutting them off. I didn't know if there were elements of grooming involved at all, and I don't remember her telling me there were a minor, but that could just be faulty memory on my end. Quell says, why? Who's that? The person I recorded asking about pro shipping. What the fuck? I'm gonna decline it real quick to give them the message that we cannot reconnect. Okay. About 3 months later, I encountered Quell in a VR chat lobby. We moved into a private lobby where I tried to apologize for everything that had happened and once again tried to confide in her about the abuse I was experiencing. She said we couldn't get back into contact for her own safety, even before I asked if it would ever be possible. I apologized profusely for what I did and for hurting her. I didn't know if she was recording this as well. I'm just saying this to further that she was well aware of the abuse that caused my actions. A few months after this encounter, I'd gotten word from many different people that she had been spreading to my fans and people she was working with that I was a, quote, bad person, and that she was avoiding people who would wear my models. Learning this after everything I told her... Learning this after everything I told her hurt. She clearly didn't care about what had happened to me and was twisting narratives to others to purposefully make me out to be some sort of predator. She would omit the fact that I was in danger, that I was a minor, and other major details about the situation to spew the narrative that I was a danger to people. Man, the beef is just going everywhere. It's not even just on Roblox. We got VR chat beef. Holy shit. All right, Snail. Intro. Hello, my name is Snail. I was a tester for BlushCrunch Studios for a sizable chunk of 2024. Given the recent developments and information revealed, as well as having reconnected with some ex-staff members, I decided to create this document with my own experiences involving Quelver. I want to make it clear that my experience with her was not involved nor severe as it was with other people who have recently come forward. My testimonial is meant to give is meant to help give further evidence for the harmful pattern of behavior Quell has expressed towards anyone who gets involved with her, regardless of closeness, as well as shown how her harmful behavior extends to people outside of her inner circle. Throughout the years, Quell has created a system that allows her to jam constructive communication between the player base and BlushCrunch studio staff. She has gotten away with washing her hands of multiple incidents, no matter their severity, and has tactically encouraged the Dandy's World community to blame her failings as a game developer and community owner on her staff team. She will ignore any problem, refuse any feedback, and avoid any type of confrontation. The inaction is deliberate and not just the result of incompetence. Anyone who tries to speak up, regardless of what it is they're talking about, will be cut off and will proceed to defame them among staff, ensuring communication is severed. She is fully aware of how many issues she has mishandled, but she'll remain radio silent about them in order to seem unaware and thus letting the blame fall onto someone else. She's aware her fanbase is highly reactive and idolizes her, but that hasn't taken any efforts in reining them, and due to the fact their aggressive reactions are useful against anyone willing to air her dirty laundry. Please keep in mind that my testimonial involves a situation where I too fell for the shifting of blame and ostracizing. A lot of what happened to me was posted to public websites, so you might stumble across the original posts. Remember those posts. Read those posts knowing that I did not have the full picture. I mistakenly blamed multiple people who I now know had their hands forced into deliberately cutting communication with me and treating me as hostile. Background and role as a tester. I was approached by Quell to become a tester during May of 2024. At that point, Dandy's World wasn't fully released, so the reason I was picked as a candidate was due to my time playing Flavor Frenzy, BlushCrunch's previous game. At the time, I was an active member of BlushCrunch Studios' Discord server and was high up in the game's leaderboards, which IIRC was listed in a voice call as the reason to consider me a candidate. Okay, hold on. Discord reads, Quell says, "Hi Snell, been a while since we chatted. I was coming to your DMs to ask if you'd be interested in becoming a tester for my games. You do receive 200 Robux each time we do a group test. Let me know if you're interested or have any questions. Hello Quell, thanks for the offer. I'd be happy to become a tester. I'd be interested in partaking, though I have to ask, when do tests take place in terms of hours? We usually pick times on EST, but testing is done on weekends. For example, we are testing at 8 p.m. EST tomorrow, but testers are never obligated to joining in testing sessions that are optional." Snail says, "Oh, those are good hours for me. That's typically 6 p.m. where I live. My time zone is MST. Basically, any afternoon/evening hours for the Americas are doable for me. I'd be glad to join. Is there anything I should know/do beforehand if I joined? You'd be given the tester role. You would have access to the tester chat. Everything in said chat is private, and any content shown, of course, is private. A quick way to lose tester is to, of course, leak planned content. Also, you have to have your Roblox account be a part of the group, so it may receive the tester role for access to the tester version of the game." Snail, currently checking if I'm a part of the Roblox group and understood the whole, dude. Oh my god. Hold on. Let me take like a 5-minute break. Holy shit. Okay, my apology. Oh my god. I've been reading for the past 2 hours straight. My voice is kind of killing me. I don't know if you can tell, it's like dying. Oh god. Okay. As I was saying, currently checking if I'm a part of the Roblox group and understood about the NDA. Checked, and yep, I'm a part of the group. Last thing is, when we do a group test session, we do a VC. You do not have to join it, but it is highly appreciated and preferred that you do, even if it is on mute, just to listen. Other than that, just know you're able to DM me whenever for a question or concern as a tester. Let me know if any of that is a problem. If not, I think you're ready for the role. Snail, I might not be able to talk tomorrow, but I'll definitely try to join the VC, and will do. So far, I'm really excited and thankful for the opportunity. If there's any problems alongside the way, on my end, I'll let you know. But right now, I'm able to participate. Obviously, this is a very exciting opportunity. So I accepted. I knew going in that it'd be mostly volunteer work, but since I was in for a game that I was already deeply invested in, this didn't feel like a downside. Keep in mind as well that during this time, sorry, that is because BlushCrunch was still a small studio and Flavor Frenzy was their only game. So apart from the excitement, I was also being realistic. I was part of the last two play testing sessions for Flavor Frenzy would get, as well as the pre-release session for Dandy's World, which doubled as a way for Quell and Rox to record footage for the release trailer. I did not recall the exact amount of payment I received for any of these sessions, as my Roblox account's transaction history doesn't date that far back, and I forgot to take screenshots of the actual amount. It, however, was not much each time. Keep in mind, again, that this didn't raise any red flags for me. I knew going in that financial compensation wasn't the goal, and this was right before Dandy's World exploded in popularity and the money truly began pouring in. As for my involvement with staff and the inner workings, I can say that there really wasn't much. As someone who was only a tester, all I had access to beyond the public channels was the testing, text, and voice channels. In a sense, yes, I technically had easier access to other staff members than a regular player due to having access to a private channel, but I was neither privy to anything internal beyond what other staff members with access to those channels were willing to share. Okay. I'm guessing this is like testing. Okay, cool. Testing, cool. More testing stuff. Cool. After the third and last playtesting session, which was about Dandy's World, there would never be another session to test further updates to the game while I was still part of the team, or at the very least, none that I would be included in. The text channel would still remain somewhat active, though, as me and other staff members would occasionally discuss game balancing and feedback. At the lack of anything concrete to do, I decided to make the best of it and test the game out in my own accord. I played nearly daily, mostly in public lobbies, and occasionally organized runs that would get hosted in the BlushCrunch Discord. Oh my God! Yeah, whatever. That. You know what this says. You know what this says. I'm tired. Myself with the mechanics, familiarize. Oh my God, I can't say it. Myself with the mechanics, talk with people on the BlushCrunch Discord, especially in a channel meant for questions regarding the gameplay. Take notes of what people would point out the most, as well as what I considered could be improved, and every now and then rely my findings to the staff over at the testing channel. Reaction to this feedback was minimal, really. Every now and then a staff member would open on it, or bring up a topic themselves. I would engage in a discussion. But as far as I recall, neither Rox nor Quell ever approached me nor meaningfully interacted with whatever I'd propose or relay from player feedback. It was radio silence on their end. Doubly so after the events of October 2024 transpired, and Quell was left as the sole owner. The only thing I can recall ever contributing to the game's proper in terms of balancing / gameplay was the sprint toggle feature, which probably was due to the fact that it was one of the very last posts submitted in BC's server suggestion forms before they were permanently made inaccessible, and later unceremoniously deleted / privated. Eventually, it was decided that the role of tester was no longer needed, and anyone that was yet a part of staff would be laid off and the roles removed. It was sad, but given how there had been no proper playtesting sessions, and I was basically the only one with the role that wasn't also a staff member that was still active, it made sense. At one point, I tried to apply to contributor, wanting to still work on the game, but feeling I wasn't someone who could have handled another responsibility such as moderation. I sent Quell a quickly made portfolio, and nothing really came of it, as she mentioned that contributors as a position weren't her immediate priority. Okay. Hello, chat. Hey, Quell. So, to apply for the contributor role, do I need to send you something along the lines of a portfolio? Pretty much. At least skills providable, proof of work and such. Take as much time as you need. I'm not looking for this anytime soon. Send stuff. Okay. Not looking for 2D artists, but if you have examples of video editing, though, as well as logos, possibly, I'm gathering them right now. Okay. Here's a use manual for what's supposed to be my logo. Logo. What the fuck? Logo. I could nab the individual images in case you don't want to download this file. I'm able to do layout and know how to apply the logos to mockups and whatnot. Can't download the files, sadly. Okay. I'll nab images, no worries. Sends images, okay. Sends a thumbs up. Video editing, not the best, but I know my way around After Effects. I will consider these for a while, might be a month till I start working with contribs a lot. Finally, English/Spanish translation would be tricky to prove. I'm a native Spanish speaker, and my English level is roughly C1 to C2. I've been meaning to retake I think that's the English fluency exam test to get like concrete evidence. I'm not just talking out of my ass. If you do ever decide to consider official localization, I'm sure I could help with the Spanish one. Okay. Thanks, Quell. As always, take your time, and thanks for hearing me out. Okay, cool. I didn't try to press for the testing role to be kept. In fact, it didn't even occur to me that my volunteer work shouldn't have been compensated until only other non-staff tester, Rubik, pointed out to Quell and demanded some kind of severance pay since we were not included in any official playtesting sessions despite Dandy's World exploding in popularity. I'm not aware of the amount of Robux Rubik's received, but I received what I believed was an alright sum, and was officially taken out of the testing position under what I assumed were good terms. The AI ticket incident. Learning more about the situation behind the scenes regarding the ticket, I now doubt the use of AI was involved, but this is the name that stuck in the minds of the players that were around to learn about it. Not everyone knows about this issue as it came and went relatively quickly, but ask anyone in the fandom who read about the issue. The name AI ticket is what'll probably jog their memory. The context for this one is a bit lengthy. It also involves a lot of technical knowledge of the game at the time, as well as general knowledge of how the competitive scene for Dandy's World was back then. There's a competitive scene for Dandy's World? Huh. News to me. So please bear with me, and in parentheses, and apologies in case I misremember any details. Throughout 2024 and into the very early months of 2025, Dandy's World didn't have any rules regarding the use of glitches. There were rules against exploiting, of course, but the way the staff interacted with players, there was this general sentiment that glitches weren't considered into those rules. The game at the time was notoriously buggy, with almost every glitch reported at the time only serving to hinder players during runs, depending on what aspect of the game they broke. One such glitch is what would be dubbed the stealth glitch, named so because it would mess with the player's stealth stat during a run, leaving them a few decibels below their actual stealth stat. The glitch was not news at this point. It had been reported since roughly the Sprout update and received consistent attention for players that would use the bug report channel. It should also be noted that for most of the glitches, oh my god, that most of the glitch's existence triggered, it would negatively affect players for a while. The player base wasn't sure what triggered the glitch until it was discovered that it involved using a gumball and 2 stealth candies in quick succession. Given the fact that at the time, rules regarding gameplay didn't include... wait, didn't I just read that? Wait. Given the fact at the time, rules regarding gameplay didn't include glitch usage such as exploiting, a competitive team tried their hand at a glitched world record run, which they streamed. The players weren't shy about their usage of glitches, disclosing publicly that this run shouldn't be counted as a glitchless, and at one point explaining that caused the trigger. The run got up to floor 400, at the time a huge milestone, no matter the type of world record. However, at the end of the run, the entire team was met with a series of bans from part of the BlushCrunch staff. Everyone on the team received a month-long ban except for one of the distractors, who received a permanent ban? God damn. Naturally, this caused a lot of upheaval among the player base. I found out about the incident through the uproar in BlushCrunch Studio Discord server, as well as through third-party servers for competitive runs I was a part of. Panic spread amongst the player base due to the reason that was issued for those bans, as well as the sudden change in the wording of the rules, now including the usage of glitches as a part of exploiting in the game. It wasn't that players were upset that they could no longer cheat. It was the sudden 180 in the staff's stance on what counted as cheating, which felt like something players held grudges against. Oh my god. That held grudges against other players could abuse to bully them off the game. It was the latter sentiment that made me get further invested into the situation, which would cause me to get in contact with the perma-banned player and their teammate, as I wanted to help in any way I could. When I was clear the stance on what counted as exploit and wasn't changing back, we settled on creating an appeal document to, at the very least, change the permit ban to a month-long ban, like what his teammates had been issued. Another thing to note is that the players had already tried to approach the staff with tickets of their own, but had been stonewalled. Thinking I could help out by being around as someone the staff knew beforehand, I messaged Quell asking if it was possible to have multiple people in a singular ticket, which ended up being a bad idea for multiple reasons. For one, multiple players could be added to a ticket anyways. And on the other hand, this apparently made the idea in Quell's mind that I was a aggrandizing asshole that thought they had power over her. What did I actually think that? Fuck no. If anything, I went in knowing I was gonna cash out, or is it crash out? I went in knowing I was going to cash out whatever standing reputation I had with Quell and other staff members. I got involved because it didn't sit well with me that the team had gone through the normal channels and gotten a door slammed in their face. Yeah, valid. I even tried to appeal to the issue of players could use these tools to bully others on a ticket of my own, which didn't amount to much. Obviously, hindsight is 2020, and all these decisions were mistakes on my part, but it is what it is. Hey, Quell, sorry this is out of the blue, but wondering if you could read this document. It's regarding the whole situation with Merc and the Floor 400 team. More specifically, it's about the issues with moderation over at BlushCrunch. There has been some attempts at reaching out to the staff properly about this, but dialogue has been really difficult. Also, I should mention I'm not the one who created the document, just trying to help out because I also found the situation iffy. Sorry, I can't help with this directly, but I can forward this to head admins, the highest form of moderation. If you'd like, I can request they bring you into a ticket, for further discussion if you would like. Do not send me anything moderation based. Okay. That's right. The person I'm helping out also planned to make a ticket, so I'll let them know. Thanks for the favor. No problem. Just let me know when you'd like me to message them. What user ID if you'd like. Dude, holy shit. Zombiey hit the 2-hour mark and then he just starts stumbling, bro. Oh, it's so ass. No problem. Just let me know when you'd like me to message them. What user ID. If you'd like, I believe I can put you both in person to ticket the chat and some head admins if that's preferred. Thank you. All right, I think everyone's ready. Their user IDs are ShrimpDog and R5VX. Once again, thank you for helping for extra officially, please note that this was my last correspondence I had with Quell before she'd go on to block me. The ticket got made, and one important thing to note is the cordial tone of the staff that responded to us at the start. We sent the appeal document for them to read, as well as discussed other topics with them. The three of us were in a group chat discussing the way the ticket was developing, and the tone at the start felt hopeful, not helpful. But then we were made to wait roughly 3 days for a response. When the ticket resumed, the attitude of the staff had done a complete 180. We were subsequently stonewalled. As it was going down, we did not develop the assumption AI was being used to generate responses, as we were focused on trying to appeal against the sudden change in tone, until finally given up at the request of staff. finding the whole thing troubling, and knowing the ticket would become inaccessible to us once it was closed. We screenshotted the entire thing and began to share the situation to our friends. This is where the idea that the staff was using AI-generated responses came from, as once we settled down and began reading the responses with friends, we began to see a lot of phrasing and formatting options that didn't line up with the way staff was previously replying to us. What reinforced the assumption on our end was that a friend of mine asked ChatGPT to generate a rebuttal to the appeal document we had made, and the result reading similar to some of the responses we were receiving. Okay. The whole situation felt frustrating. Given how the band didn't budge, I was given the go-ahead to publish what we thought we had found in public, explaining the context of the ticket as well as making the appeal document public. I wrote a post about it on the game's subreddit, which got moderation attention. Two YouTubers, independent of me or the team, covered the situation as well over the course of a few days. Oh my god! The perma-banned player eventually also linked to my post on his YouTube channel, and within a few hours, his team and myself had been banned from the BlushCrunch Discord server. That's so fucking stupid. Like, changing the rules and then enforcing the ban and then causing somebody to get, like, what does that enforce? Perma-banning someone for that. I just spit all over my monitor. Perma-banning for, like, something like that is so fucking silly, dude. Misinformation about staff claiming they used AI to respond to your ticket. Okay, cool. The ban was saddening, but in a way, I was already preparing for it. Given how I made the ticket situation public after communication with the staff team fell apart, I made a follow-up post on the subreddit, both due to the ban and due to the fact I discovered Quell blocked me during the whole ordeal, even though she claimed she wasn't going to get involved. I should mention that nobody from staff contacted me nor engaged with my post. The ban was sudden and didn't even extend to my Roblox account, as I could still play the game. I was definitely miffed about the whole thing. Who wouldn't be? If prompted, I would tell fellow players to be wary about the draconian rules. Okay. Lest something similar to what happened when I got involved occurred. At the time, the fears I had about this way the ticket situation or system was being handled was somewhat vindicated when people within the community would express the issue on bad faith actors attempting to use the stricter moderation to try and bully other players off the game. In hindsight, the way staff was prevented from communicating with me and two other players for days, only to then resume communications in a very dismissive and cooperative manner. Should have been a red flag. I'm gonna move the mic. Another thing I should have caught on to sooner is how Quell claimed to not get involved in moderation affairs, yet seemingly had no problem doing me a favor and was one of the very first people on staff to sever ties with me. I would later discover that she encouraged staff members with whom I got along with to distance themselves from me, eventually cutting full contact. Aftermath of my experience. In the years since the ticket controversy and my subsequent ban from the BC Discord, I would remain part of the Dandy's World community and would continue to play the game. My opinions of how the BlushCrunch staff managed things would gradually sour, and I became a vocal critic of various discussions that Quell would take regarding the game's community. I chalked my experience on the team and in that small controversy as me simply being the weakest link in staff, someone who, due to not being a part of the inner workings of staff, was never truly a part of the in-game, never part of the in-group, and thus an annoyance. However, with the information that has come to light recently, I, as well as having had the opportunity to reconnect with a lot of ex-staff members, I've come to the realization that despite my small role, behind the scenes Quell ran a defamation campaign against me. Pursuing other staff members into changing their opinion about me, as well as attempting to shut down conversations whenever I was mentioned. Claiming I would brought her great stress, here are some screenshots shared with me showing how she talked about me behind closed doors, even before my removal from the BC Discord server. Let's see. This is okay. Equips Twisted Sprout, summons Tentacle, cutely uwu. I know for a fact people are going to do bad things with Twisted Sprout. How come Snail isn't in here? I'm not sure currently. I'm struggling to trust, and that goes for my testers currently. Nothing against Snail, but I'd rather not risk myself in any way. Mind you, the screenshot above, I was still technically a part of the team. Other staff members in the screenshot are wondering why I was excluded from that private chat. Who's the three? This person, all these people? Shake my head. Just gonna unfriend Snail. How she actually felt about helping with the ticket. Compare this to the tone she used while DMing me. They also allegedly helped with the game, but knowing Snail, it's testing one time and claiming they actually wrote the whole thing. In other words, testing. Quell responded, and we can write Dandelion guy, to be my husband. Quell's fabricated image of me for whatever reason began to center on the idea I wanted to marry/have sex with Dandy. I wish I could make that up. People that have reached out to me mentioned that this was an obsessive recurring bit Quell would spout during voice calls unprompted. God bless person. I do. Okay, wait. I don't know. Is this relevant? I don't know. I'm gonna just read what Quell said. If I don't read this and it kills me, oh my god. Reminder: I'm 20. Snail is almost. Wait, what? Reminder: I'm 20. Reminder: I'm 20 and Snail is almost 30. Mad at my teacup girl and my kids game. You go A B C D E. An amazing thing to come back to after a 13-hour flight. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't take it in that Snail was approaching 30 and is behaving like this. Like, huh? It's a teacup. I think Snail is 27. I don't remember fully, so someone is free to check me. They're 27. It's set on their profile. Complaining about my public criticism regarding the poor LGBT plus representation, including in the game, she immediately jumps to point at my age as a way to delegitimize my criticism. I don't like this screenshot because it doesn't. It's like brighter and it looks okay. Sorry, that's just the critique on the screenshot. Quell, can we not post much on Snail from now on? I think they're genuinely making me uncomfortable at this level. At least in GCs I'm in. This will be until August of 2025 that she would seemingly get tired of people and staff talking about me and would begin shutting down conversations where I was mentioned. While her phrasing is pathetic, keep in mind that this is a common manipulation tactic and she would go to use it later on in other staffs. You might have noticed that other staff members in the screenshots would play along with her in defaming me. Keep in mind this is by design. This type of manipulation coerces people into agreeing with the person lobbying these claims, and if it fails, pressures them into stay silent under the pressure that not going along with it causes the manipulator emotional pain. I do not blame anyone on staff for this other than Quell herself. People I reconnected with apologized for their involvement and were generous enough to share this information with me. Quell can't say the same. With all this information being brought to light, I think all I can think about is how Quell, intentionally or not, set up the perfect system for keeping both staff members and the player base in the dark and as uncommunicated with each other as possible. She created a system that forces staff to isolate from members outside the team, which in turn fuels hurt and resentment from the part of the broader community. And I fell for it too. After all, without the context of how Quell operates behind the scenes, the idea that I was simply too valuable to a clique, I think that's what that's supposed to mean, to a clique that doesn't exist was the closest thing that made sense. Despite seeing through some cracks at the end of the day, I still fell for the lie that situations like the one I had been in were a team effort instead of one person strong arming their staff into formulating the type of responses that she wanted to send. All the while being too much of a coward to actually come down and get involved directly, instead of pinning the blame into the sole person responsible for how poorly handled this ticket situation was, me, other players involved, and the members of the community that saw the situation go down, fell for it and distributed the blame mostly around the staff members that were forced to concoct those responses, keeping Quell as blameless as possible. In a vacuum, her reaction to my her reaction to my actions and how she would go on to push her slander is pathetic, laughable behavior. However, the reason I'm sharing this is because if this is how she reacted to me stepping out of line, imagine how much worse she's treated ex-staff members, ex-friends, and friends who were much closer to her or who were roped into helping her in more serious affairs. She resorted to pushing for a fabricated idea of my character because I wasn't close enough for her to have anything she could use as ammunition. If this is how Quell treats strangers and acquaintances, please consider how she treats people closer to her, how much worse that behavior would be. Please read the testimonies from everyone else as they give you a glimpse into this appalling and inexcusable behavior. And then a non-testimony this is only 3 pages long. Okay. Trigger warning, manipulation, harassment, mentions of SA, PTSD, and emotional distress. Hello, I'm one of Quell's victims, and I've asked to stay anonymous for my own safety as I do not handle situations like this very well, and have generalized anxiety disorder, as well as autism spectrum disorder. I wanted to rewrite my testimonial as I felt it looked rushed and sloppy, as well as missing some important context and details. I want to make it clear that this testimony reflects my personal experience and perspective as a former fan of Quell. I'm not involved with I'm not involved with the Rock situation in any way. Before you might dismiss me as I am not involved, I do have a story to share that exposes Quell's behavior to other people behind closed doors. As others have said in their own sections of the document, please do not attack nor harass anyone mentioned nor involved. As a disclaimer, yes, Quell does indeed play VR chat, and there are people who can confirm it. I remember seeing a clip a really long time ago of Quell being on VR chat. So I'm pretty, yeah, she does play VR chat. I didn't have a second glance at those claims. Anyway, when I first saw Joji's document, it gave me the courage to speak out about my own experience with Quell and open my eyes to behavior I deemed was okay, and even though it didn't feel so deep down. Here's my story. Back in late November of 2025, I was on VR chat participating in a group public instance of Dandy's World experience. The leader of said group warned us to be on our best behavior as Quell herself actually joined. At first, people were mostly doubtful that it was actually her. I had gone up to her myself and asked, only for her to look at me and then walk away without saying anything. It rubbed me the wrong way, and I just assumed that she was shy and hadn't played on VR in quite a while. So I didn't let it bother me too much. Around 5 minutes later, I was helping the moderators and leader keep everyone from crowding Quell, as I knew people would very quickly get out of hand and swarm her if no one had stepped in. We were free to ask her questions as long as they weren't about Dandy's World lore. A reasonable request. People in the instance chatted with her and shared their stories of how, through her game, they met their friends, partners, friends groups, etc. I was one of those people. I vividly remember apologizing to her in advance if I seemed jittery or nervous due to my stimming and vocal tics. Quell shared some insight as to what was to come in regards to the second Christmas event, including Ginger and Bobette's ability rework, Bobette's trinket rework, and a new map. I was aware some of you have been asking why the video of the group meeting Quell is a bit low quality. This is due to the fact that I got the video secondhand from a friend of mine who was the one recording. I had not recorded Quell as I had not recorded Quell as I do not like recording people without consent. It just feels wrong to me. However, that is just my own personal standpoint. I had been too anxious at the time to ask her myself. There are screenshots I took in the instance of Quell's artwork as more proof that she was indeed there and not an impersonator. Photos will be on the next page. Quell's artwork is on the left side. The right side is fan art that someone else drew. Okay. Dope, cool. After the initial meeting of Quell, many of us decided to draw either her Dandy's World character or our own AUs and such. I had drawn Glistine, V, and Tegan, making the joke that they were all the Slay Squad, as the three of us were very fashionable. Quell had been nearby and came over, scoffing unnecessarily loudly and saying in a snide tone and voice, What? Is that your weird fan fiction or something? This was completely out of pocket considering I had done nothing to provoke Quell nor anyone around me. If anything, I had been making sure she wasn't uncomfortable nor crowded the entire time she was there. I had also barely spoken to her as my anxiety was still overwhelming for me. I am not sure why she responded the way she did, and I'm still baffled that she talked to me the way completely unprompted even now. After she spoke to me, I ended up having to take a 10-minute break off of the headset because I was crying a lot and I didn't want to believe what I had heard from someone I idolized and look up so much to. I still hope that was a miscommunication, but after hearing and seeing how Quell acts behind closed doors, I'm starting to believe that less and less. I was completely humiliated in front of my friends. Not even 20 minutes after I'd come back from my break, I was genuinely convinced that I was the problem and that I was overreacting, thinking maybe she was just joking and I took it the wrong way. I rejoined the crowd of people and once again tried to keep everyone from overwhelming Quell. I spoke a lot less to her after that happened, but she turned her attention back to me and pulled me aside. At first, I thought she was going to apologize for how she came off, for what she said earlier, but instead started venting to me about how people on TikTok using AI of her face and pretending to be her, as well as telling me, a complete stranger, that the previous instance she had joined had someone trying to touch her and kiss her. I was completely bewildered at this information. Once again, I am a complete stranger to Quell. I never met the woman before in my entire life, yet she pulls me aside and talks with such intense topics such as SA without giving a single warning. I'm a victim of SA in real life. I do not take this topic lightly, and I'm heavily traumatized from my own experience with it. There are absolutely no reason to be venting about these topics to complete strangers, let alone introducing topics such as SA. Trigger-inducing topics such as SA. The weirdest part is that she almost sounded proud telling me all this. She sounded amused with my concern for her well-being, almost as if she enjoyed someone worrying for her. This behavior isn't okay, and I really wish that Quell either told a close friend about this, or at the very least, given me a trigger warning and asked if I was okay with her venting to me at all. Not only that, but she kept drawing attention to my arm flabbing, body stem due to my ASD, and that I cannot control. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I don't know if you guys can hear my voice giving out. I apologize. I continue onwards. That I cannot control. It made me really self-conscious how she kept bringing it up, and I couldn't help it. For those who do not have it, it is the equivalent of telling someone to stop sneezing. We cannot control when it happens, and we have a hard time suppressing body stems when we are overwhelmed and or excited. Quell would later leave the instance to go to bed. With all that being said, there's a lot to unpack here. One of the most important things I have to say here is that Joji is right. We do not know that Quell is like behind closed doors like they do, or how she acts around fans is just a facade. Did I say that right? Facade? Something. Sorry, facade? I think so. Even when I first met Quell, I felt something off about her. I really hope that other victims get support and closure they need during this. As for me, I used to be one of Quell's biggest supporters. I played Dandy's World nearly every day for hours, met so many amazing and wonderful people through that game, bought a Dandy plush and a first edition Sprout plushie, and I don't know what to do now, and even getting to 4100, but I need you all to remember something. Dandy's World is just a game at the end of the day. Quell and Rox are real people who have hurt real individuals, and their careless, selfish, and heartless actions. I won't go into anyone else's situation with her and Rox, as that is not my domain to engage in, but I implore everyone to read the other victims' sections and listen to their experiences. I hope everyone gets the closure they need and has a wonderful day/night. Okay. End of document takeaways, because I know some people just skip to the end. All right. So I think every one of these testimonies, every one of these experiences are valid. My only critic about this is Gary, you have a reason to be upset, and that is completely valid. However, whenever you are writing a document on somebody, venting your frustration and saying you hate this person, it comes off as like you're doing this more for malicious. You're doing this more maliciously than you are doing this to inform or spread information or to I say expose, but like to bring somebody's true character to light. Aside from that, your experience with Rox is, it's fucking awful. Like, yeah, no. But no, yeah, for the like this notion being pushed around that Joji is in the works with like Duck Atom and also Rocks is kind of I don't know if it's definitely not a slander campaign. I think Rocks is more than likely just hopping on the bandwagon of everybody trying to expose Quell and trying to drag down Quell with him. That's what it appears like. Although I don't, I need to look at the timeline of events of when Rock started commenting on things or started like confirming on certain things. But no, yeah, I liked this entire document. My only issue in it was probably the Gary part, with just it being a little hostile. But that's really about it. Not pretty good doc, all things considered. Quell definitely does need to respond to these things, or at least address them, but isn't because of legal reasons. And I will get into the legal response in another video. I don't want to do it in this one. It's already 2 hours and 40 minutes long. So yeah, thank you guys if you've been watching all the way through the end. I appreciate you. Yeah, that'll do it all for this video. See ya.